Good God, do we have a lot to discuss today? Filter in, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to want to miss this one. Let's go. Hit that like button. What do you say? We're live, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot to discuss and we don't have a ton of time to do it. I appreciate you guys joining me once again. I'm sure that alert that you woke up to wasn't the one that you were expecting as it pertains to maybe a member of Congress that either is or isn't living. But obviously, we'll get into the news of the day that everybody's talking about. What do you say we welcome in the chat, say hi to you guys, give you guys a little bit of screen time, as you guys always are deserving of. Love having you guys around. Appreciate you guys and the support that you show to this channel. What do you say? What's going on, guys? I make you nice and tall there. What do you say? Nice and wide as well. There you go. There we go. What's happening, guys? What's going on, Roxy? What's up, El Rondo? What's up, Melissa? Good to see you. What's up, Her Story? How are you? Good to see everybody. Jupiter Judy, welcome in. What's up, Jerry? Happening, guys. What's happening? What's up, Wes? What's up, Lons? Good to see you guys. Obscenity Sam in the house. What's happening? What up, OG Osman? Appreciate you guys. What's up, Red Wave? Red Wave of ketchup. What's up, Dame? Appreciate you guys. What's up, M2M? Good to see you. What's up, everybody? Thank you to the mods. Thank you to Rox. Thank you to everybody down there. Thank you to Tiff. Thank you to Adam. Thank you to Jen. Thank you to all the mods that we have here. Mark, fantastic people. Aliosha over there on Twitch. Everybody that helps this channel out. I know I get myself in trouble by trying to thank everybody because I always end up leaving somebody out, but it's not on purpose. I promise. I love each and every one of you guys. Oh, what's going on, Yakov? There you are. I told you. I'm always leaving somebody out, and I apologize. But how's the back, dude? How's the back, brother? Hope you're doing well. Good vibes being sent your way from everybody, including me and everybody in the chat. I know you've been going through it, and the back is not a good thing. It is just not a good thing to have pain in. Not that there's any good thing to have pain in, but anybody that's had back pain knows exactly what I'm talking about. So, Yakov, thank you so much for everything you do down there in the chat. Appreciate you kicking us off in the right direction there with the $2 contribution. Let's fucking go, guys. Much appreciated. What's going on, Kyle? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. What's up, Lee? What's happening, everybody? What's happening? Good to see you. Filter in. Welcome in, one and all. Lots to discuss. It is July 12th, 2026, and it is Sunday. And boy, oh boy. First off, before we get into the craziness, before we get into the news of the day, as I'm sure you guys are aware of, I do want to reiterate once again a big, joyous, happy birthday to my mom. My mom's birthday was yesterday, so I love you, Mom. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for me and everybody else in this family. I hope you had a wonderful day. Sorry we didn't have a show so we could make the whole show about you, but I don't think you would have watched anyway. So love you, Mom. Thank you so much for everything you've done. Hope you had a wonderful, wonderful birthday. What do you say we get into a little bit of the nonsense and the crazy? So a couple things we'll be covering today. Few big points, obviously, is going to be that the neocon, warmonger, and Trump cuck Lindsey Graham is dead of an apparent heart attack at the age of 71 years old. Now, lots of speculation flying out around there because of the timing of his death, his recent trip to Ukraine. I'm going to speak about my thoughts and opinions on, a lot of people trying to praise Lindsey Graham for the things that he said and his, kind of going to bat for Ukraine over the years, and credit where credit is due to some instance, right? On some levels, I'll stipulate. But I do want to reiterate that every single time that Lindsey Graham either brought up Ukraine or talked about a deal or supporting Zelensky or anything, it was always backhanded, like the backhanded approach of the United States profiting off of the war by some mineral deal, off of some weapons platforms. So again, I will take the help, I will take the assistance, especially where it is very lacking in the Republican Party. But I do want to make sure that we take a nice hard look at this warmonger neocon, a guy with much blood on his hands, never met a war that he didn't like. And again, a lot of people, when they woke up with the one eye open this morning, wiping the sleepies out of their eyes, and they got that alert and they saw the words dead and senator, I'm sure you had somebody else in mind, right? I'm sure you were thinking, finally, we get an update on what the hell is going on with Mitch McConnell. But no, Lindsey Graham, like I said, at the age of 71, died of an apparent heart attack. Like I said, a lot of people speculating as to who may have been behind this, if there was some foul play involved. I think it should be very easy to determine that. I think I was saying this on Blue Sky. A lot of people kind of, running around with the speculations and shit. And again, the timeline adds up. It does add up. You could definitely write a book on this, on the general headlines as it pertains to, Lindsey Graham being in Ukraine, his support for Ukraine, and then coming back here and then dying of an apparent heart attack. But you would think that the appropriate test would show if there was any foul play involved, if he was poisoned, so to speak. There should be an easy way to determine that. And again, there's only going to be one country on the list, somebody that was, talking about sanctions against Russia, obviously talking about how that could be beneficial to Ukraine. There's only one country on the list there that is known to have people operating throughout the planet going around and eliminating people, axing people, if you will, that don't agree with the Kremlin regime, speak out against the war, anything along those lines. I'm sure you've heard of many of the stories that we could be talking about. We'll also be talking about the continued bombing between Iran and the United States as that continues to degrade. More retaliation from the Iranians against U.S. bases. About, I think, over 130, 140 different targets supposedly hit by CENTCOM in the United States. So that continues to degrade as a situation. The MOU is done and dusted as far as that's concerned. And again, it's anybody's guess as to where this is going to lead. We seem to have less and less off-ramps, where in the beginning of this, we didn't seem to have any. We seem to have less options as far as off-ramps and actually getting us out of this without escalating it even further. So we'll take a look at that. And then we got some updates on what's been taking place in and around Ukraine for the last 24, 48 hours. Another one of Russia's major oil refineries in Russia has been struck. I believe it was the Syzran oil refinery. So we'll bring up the map, show you where that is, let you know what's going on that. We have some updates from Georgie from Ukraine Matters, talking about, I believe, the gas shortages and the ongoing feuds between the Russian citizens and their, inability to find petrol in their vicinity. And then obviously the 90 oil tankers, the 90 fuel tankers that have now been hit in the Sea of Azov, leading to Russia having to suspend shipping in that specific geographical position because of, again, the efficacy that the Ukrainians have shown and their ability to take out, again, what is over 90 ships, I believe, at this point in, 4 or 5, maybe 6 days at this point, based off of how long they've been trying to, how long they've been undertaking this. But I do want to just start off before we get into what's going on with Lindsey Graham and the story going on with that. I do want to bring this in and just show you and give you a couple updates as to what's been taking place between the United States and Iran. And then we can get into, obviously, what's going on with Lindsey Graham, because that's probably going to take up the majority of the coverage today. But thank you guys so much for your support for this channel. We have set a goal there. I'm going to try to do my best, OPSEC, in consideration, obviously, to live stream, to bring you guys along for the ride as much as humanly possible. Obviously, I'll be conferring with the people in the group and the people leading the group and figuring out how that's going to work. But if we can reach that goal, I will promise to at some point be live streaming from Europe as we go to deliver in just a couple days another NAFO vehicle with Help 99, the 69th Sniffer Brigade. We're going to be taking that truck into Kyiv, delivering that firsthand in person to make sure that they understand that we are standing side by side with them in this fight and that the blunt politics community here has their back every single goddamn time. So thank you guys again, as always, for making that a possibility. It's only with your help, you guys continuing to like, share, subscribe to the channel, that allows us to continue to do these things. But all right, let's get into just a quick update. I'm curious as to how Fox News is trying to shovel this down the throats of their demented viewers as it pertains to the war going on between Iran and the United States, and how this has just completely degraded as a situation. As we expected, right? We knew that that MOU and the negotiations and the rhetoric coming from both sides didn't look like it was going to equalize into a final agreement, to say the least. So let's just throw this on the screen for you. And again, this is just real quick Fox News clip. I'm curious how they're, like I said, trying to shovel this down the throats of their viewers. This is the U.S. conducting strikes against Iranian assets near the Strait of Hormuz, and then we'll go into a little bit more on the situation. But let's see here what Fox News has to say so we can call their asses out. Appreciate you guys. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. You can donate and gift inside of the chat there. There's also a Venmo up in the corner if you utilize that in any way, shape, or form, and you find some, quarters in the couch cushions, and you can send $1 or $2 in there to support this channel, this independent channel. Again, no ad revenue coming in and interrupting this live stream 1,000 times. I'm not selling you any green juice or mattresses or clothes or anything like that. It's basically everything's done by us, for us, and with us here at the Blunt Politics community, and it's only with your help, generosity, and support that we continue to do this. So much appreciated. This is just a quick update from Fox News. trying to again propagandize this ongoing war between Iran and the U.S. that we've continued to see, missiles and bombs and drones flying all around.
U.S. Central Command just announced they began a third round of strikes against Iran in response to Iranian forces attacking a Cyprus-flagged container ship in the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM says the U.S. is degrading Iran's ability to attack ships, and the strikes are being carried out at the direction of the commander.
It's amazing, with no military capabilities, that the Iranians still have the ability to strike or send missiles or drones or anything munition-wise into the Strait of Hormuz to continue showing their position, to continue showing their control over the strait, and how they want people to go through the Iranian route, not the Omani route or any designated route that the United States is trying to open up, as they've been saying time and time again. So again, it's almost like an abusive relationship at this point between the United States and Iran. It's almost like both sides get off on hitting these targets that they've hit time and time again, and they've seen really no benefit from. You know what I mean? It's basically just propaganda wars, propaganda victories for both sides. Oh, we hit 140 targets. Oh, we hit the Fifth Fleet. Oh, we hit Bandar Abbas, and we hit Sirik, and we hit this one for the 15,000th time. Okay, and then we retaliate as the Iranians into these Gulf nations and hit these U.S. bases for the fucking 400th time. You know what I mean? It's just like this. It's just like a propaganda war at this point, but it's real bombs, it's real drones, it's real people caught in the middle of that, where both of these governments seem to be just kind of playing games with each other right now.
Chief, Tom, let's go right back to you on this. Obviously, this is the perennial issue right now. No matter where we are, we talk about the Texas Senate race. This is gonna make news because we just don't know where this is from one minute to the other. It seems to be reactionary.
And who better to speak on the issue than Tommy Lahren? Am I right? I mean, if anybody knows anything about geopolitical affairs and the Middle East and wars in general, it's fucking Tommy Lahren. So I'm sure we're gonna get some great insight into what's going on here and what we can suspect, what we can predict to come in the future here from Tommy fucking Lahren.
Sometimes Iran hits ships after President Trump gave them an ultimatum, and now we're hitting Iran. What happens next?
We don't know what happens next, but I will say this. There are some that believe that if we take some sort of military action, that's going to be bad for midterms for Republicans. I actually disagree with that. I think the fact that we went in the first place, so there were some that weren't happy about that. But if you are going to go in...
I'm sorry. Some that weren't happy about that? And by some, you mean the vast majority of the country? And an ever-growing percentage of the country and the world, as a matter of fact, if you want to involve them in this whole thing. Like, I know when you say, oh, I know there was some people that, kind of had some, hesitation into going, yeah, not only did the people still have hesitation, but people inside of Donald Trump's administration rightly had hesitation in whether or not this was going to be a good idea, which clearly everybody can see now that it wasn't a good fucking idea and continues to get worse and worse. But do go on, Tommy.
I think most of those folks think finish the job and get it done. And these diplomatic talks,
so it's the Newsmax approach. That's what it is. It's the Newsmax Kyle Shitby approach, where it's like, now that we're in there, I know people didn't like it, but we've already fucking pulled the trigger as far as that's concerned. So we might as well go finish the job. What does that entail? Okay, none of these people, none of these warmongers, none of these bloodthirsty so-called journalists, as they espouse themselves to be, which is just a ridiculous thing to begin with. None of the things that they think, calling for the eradication or the elimination or finish the job or, what does that entail? Okay, what are you actually calling for? What is the end goal? How many thousands of people have to be killed? How many of their leadership do you have to kill? Like, what is the end goal? What's the off-ramp where you can finally say, okay, goal achieved? I mean, at the end of that, is that boots on the ground, right? Because that sounds like what I'm hearing. Finish the job means go in, take over these military sites, take over the nuclear sites, and that can only be done, as we've heard time and time again from military expert after military expert after military expert, that can only be done with a substantial amount of troops and boots on the ground holding and occupying those areas, right? Which would, again, obviously open up the United States military that would tasked with those responsibilities to retaliation, to enemy fire from the Iranians, from the IRGC, from any civilian that decided to pick up arms against the infidels and the occupiers, right? I mean, that's just how these things go. So they continue to say with fucking, with no energy whatsoever, very, very easily, that they need to go in and finish the job, right? We need to take it to its end goal. What does that actually mean? Tell your folks, tell your viewers what that fucking entails. How many people are going to have to die? How many more kids' schools are going to have to be hit? How many more billions of dollars in munitions are going to have to be wasted on a nightly basis to get absolutely nowhere as far as peace is concerned, or stability is concerned, or back to anything resembling normal prices as far as oil and gas is concerned? None of that is taking place, but we continue to spend these millions and millions and millions of dollars every single night bombing the shit out of the same sites that we've bombed thousands of times already and said that we've totally eliminated and have no more military capabilities, which night after night continues to either be a waste of time and money, or you've been lying to us about their military capabilities that you've eliminated thus far.
We're in a ceasefire and then we get hit and then they're saying crazy things on social media and kill Trump in the streets. I think the president needs to take action. I think he's doing that. And I think the American...
isn't it's strange that a country would be chanting kill Trump in the streets to a guy that just killed their leader and has done so before, as they were, at least pretending to be in the negotiating process, as we saw in Donald Trump's first term as well. Right. So it's like, they continue painting this as a one-sided story, a one-sided picture, and it's anything but. So, they try to give Donald Trump credit for being this strong guy and knowing exactly what's going on. And, they can't predict the future. They have no idea what's going to happen, but they want to finish the job, much like Newsmax and Kyle Higbee was calling for the other day.
People will reward him for that, because I think the worst thing that can happen is just rinse and repeat for months on end and have no change.
Riley, we were on this.
No, the worst thing that could happen is, again, we send U.S. military servicemen and women, their active, their boots onto the ground in Iran. And then we have this, again, full-scale, all-out war that it seems like Donald Trump is trying to get us into. You know what I mean? It seems like there's no other rhyme or reason as to why he's been, threatening to reinstate the blockade, continuing to send more assets and troops into the area, just in case, as he says. But, it's the same thing that you hear from these idiots time and time again. And it leads to shit like this. Like, does this sound like a guy that's in control to you? Does this sound like a guy that is of sane mind, that has the mental acuity to be the commander-in-chief of the United States Armed Forces, or to lead this country right now? Somebody this is what he said on True Social. And again, I'm sure you've seen this, but just to rehash and reiterate, he says 1,000 missiles are locked and loaded, and missiles, some reason capitalized, and aimed at the Islamic Republic of Iran. Thank God he got that one right. Thank God he got that one right, because I definitely thought he was going to say this.
Islamic Republic of Japan.
So, you know what I mean? So at least he got Iran out of that one. But with thousands of more to immediately follow, should the Iranian government act on its threat pronounced in many corners of the globe to assassinate or attempt to assassinate the sitting president of the United States of America, in this case, me, fucking idiot. Orders have already been given, and the United States military is ready, willing, and able for a 1-year period, subject to extension, to completely decimate and destroy all areas of Iran. Okay, so that's our demented, deluded president of the United States right now, talking about how the United States has basically gone to bat and will go to bat if anything happens to him for the next at least year in full-scale war and all-out bombing against Iran. Again, like, who did the American citizens, did they sign up for that? Where's the poll that shows the American citizens are behind this year-long campaign? If, again, Donald Trump decides to take his Qatari jet that doesn't have the proper infrastructure to repel against any attacks, and he just happens to get caught up at 35,000 feet by the IRGC. You know what I mean? I don't believe that the United States citizens would be out in the streets calling for prolonged war. I do believe there'd be some champagne and some dancing and some singing going on. Like, I'm just saying. But, as far as calling for prolonged war in a years-long campaign against Iran because of whatever they've been threatening for, some 40-something years at this point through all different presidencies is kind of insane. But, this is right in line with what he's been calling for, right in line with the rhetoric from Fox, from Newsmax, from the rest of these idiots, just dying to at any point have the excuse, the justification to go in and completely decimate and destroy the entire Iranian civilization, as they've stated, 5, 6, 7, 10 different times, right? You know what I mean? Once maybe a mistake, once maybe out of anger, but if you're saying it 10, 12, 14, 15 different times, clearly that's something going on in the brain at that point in time. But it was also, to talk about, ridiculous post. There was this one as well posted yesterday, I believe, by Trump, where he's going after Maggie Haberman for her new book with Jonathan Swan, which was basically so well researched that, J.D. Vance and others in the administration basically suspect that they had audio recordings because the information was so correct and on point. But yeah, he goes on to say, Maggot Haberman has covered me incorrectly for 10 years. Her book is a joke. 90% of it is fake news, which, they'd be scared that they had audio recordings if it was 90% fake. I doubt it. She has made a living off of her bad reporting and will pay the price when our multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against the failing New York Times gets to court, which should not be that long. I don't mind bad press if they are right. I do mind fake reporting. Like what's in her boring book and like what she's done for 11 years with only one aim in mind, to have Trump lose elections. But as I sit in the Oval Office and ponder, that hasn't worked out too well. Maggot is a loser. Even if she ever wrote the true story about me, it would actually be quite boring, but loaded with lots of success. Also, I just finished a perfect physical at Walter Reed. This is the part that I really wanted to get into. So he says, I just finished another physical at Walter Reed. I do it every 6 months. And he requested another cognitive test. Like, how many cognitive tests do you need? I'm sorry. Like, it doesn't matter whether or not you're demented or you're not demented. It shouldn't take that many cognitive tests to determine that. You know what I'm saying? And if you yourself are determining that you need more cognitive tests, clearly you see something not happening, okay? Some synapses are not firing on all cylinders, like something's fucking slowing down and you're noticing some problems. If you continue to have to request this many cognitive exams as the president of the fucking United States of America, right? So he says he did himself too, which is even crazier to admit. He says he aced them 3 times. He aced them all, got every question right. Few people in Washington, D.C. could do so, including Maggot and her flunky associate, Jonathan Swan. I would be willing to bet they couldn't get 50% of the questions right. Again, on the fucking... oh, man. On a test that is just literally to determine if you have dementia. And I'm sure a few other things that go along with it. You know what I mean? I'm no medical professional, but, as to my layman's understanding of what the test is supposed to be for, it's not an IQ exam. It's not to determine your genius, right? Your education level. It's to determine if you need to be put up in a fucking home, or if you need like full-time nurses by your side so you don't, I don't know, stick your dick in a light socket or something stupid. You know what I mean? Like that's what the test to me is typically for. But Donald Trump here continues to to applaud himself and to brag to everybody that he continues to have to take these and that nobody else could do. Like, you'd think in 2026, somebody would have gotten to him and be like, all right, people understand what this test is now. Like, that test has gone out on the internet. It's been on social media. Like, you can't get away with this any longer. Like, can we lie? Can we make up some other test that you took and aced that people can struggle for a couple months to try to, dig up? Like, at least that would buy us some time. But this, Canada test, the cognitive test here, like, we gotta scrap that, Mr. President. Ain't nobody buying that no more. But again, it is, right in line with all of the other demented shit that he's put on True Social, whether that's related to domestic policy, foreign policy, allies, journalists, people that have written about him. It's the same demented, deluded, psychotic shit that he posts on there, which is why, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the position that we are in right now as it pertains to, again, the war in Ukraine still raging, even though they're still kicking ass right now. Something that Donald Trump said he could end in 24 hours. Obviously, the no new wars president that continues to see the war with Iran raging as U.S. bases get hit. Let's see. I think I have another one here, too. Let me throw this one on, because I think there was some evidence here as to at least the Fifth Fleet and some other U.S. bases in the Gulf nations being hit by the Iranians, just showing you, again, the ongoing retaliations and how this continues night after night after night, basically. This was posted about 14 hours ago. It says Iranian ballistic missiles appear to have scored a direct hit on the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet headquarters in Bahrain. Footage now circulating online shows large plumes of smoke rising from the area. Now, granted, these fucking things have been hit so much and there's been so much footage to come out of these that it's tough to determine, when exactly these videos came out. I'm sure you could do some more due diligence and figure out if they line up with all of the other posts as far as last night's attacks are concerned. But I just didn't have the time. So we're going to go through these here and just see what we can put together. Like I said, that was about 14 hours ago. Also went on to say here about 14 other people reporting the same thing as far as the U.S. Fifth Fleet in Bahrain being hit. So this was the same. So you can see here, similar footage being shown by most people. It's kind of how you can detail and confirm based on of who's posting it as well. This says an underground missile launch facility used in attacks on the U.S. military bases has been struck by the U.S. Air Force using bunker buster munitions and destroyed. Iran will learn there's no future in crossing the United States. So you got propaganda going both ways. It seems to be all that's happening at this point in time. Is just who has the bigger balls, who can show that they have the bigger dick and throw up the bigger missiles and hit the bigger bases and shit like that. This is from 2 hours ago. Satellite imagery confirms recent U.S. strikes on anti-aircraft missile bases located in Bushehr and Chogahadak in Iran. So again, places and things that we've seen either hit time and time again, or if they're struck for the first time, why are they just being struck for the first time now several months into what was supposed to be a 4 to 6 week campaign? So it doesn't line up with the military capabilities and everything that they've struck so far. Here's another one of these propaganda-style videos posted by the IRGC. I don't really enjoy playing these or care to play these at all because it's almost impossible to determine when this is from. When this footage was taken, when these launches are actually from, as I let it play in the background. So something that I typically stay away from doing, but you can see this posted on a few sites here as being from the IRGC launching ballistic missiles, towards U.S. bases this morning. That was reported 9 hours ago as the Ghadir Ahmad Kibar Shiken, the Fatah 110, and the Zulfikar were used, apparently, as reported. Let's see what else they got. We got, that's from earlier on. This was 19 hours ago. This video leaked from the Muwafaq Salte Air Base in Jordan shows the moment the U.S. Army's Patriot PAC-3 long-range air defense battery engaged Iranian ballistic missiles launched by the IRGC Aerospace. A few days ago, some of the missiles penetrated the air defenses and struck several sheds on the base. Based on available satellite imagery, none of the missiles hit any aircraft. The U.S. Air Force and Air National Guard were extremely fortunate. Dozens of F-15E, F-16C, and F-35A fighter jets were parked on the ramps. Parking areas at the time, even one of those ballistic missiles struck those aircraft dispersal areas instead of the empty sheds, dozens of fighter jets could have been destroyed. And I believe this is taken by a soldier on the base, if I'm not mistaken. And you can see the Patriots going up to intercept some of the missiles. And then I don't know if it shows it on the camera here. I don't know if he gets it on cam, but you can hear the impacts in and around the base as well, which I believe were those impacts hitting what they're calling sheds, basically on the outskirts of the base there. So let's see if we can take a look at this.
Incoming.
You can see several Patriot missiles going up to intercept. It's like this one's good interception, good interception, good interception. That one going up, tough to tell. But then you can hear the impacts in the background there. So you can hear the impacts in the background there as they react. Let's see what else we got. This was 13 hours ago. U.S. military said it carried out a third round of strikes against Iranian targets on Saturday, saying the operation was in response to Iran's attacks on a commercial ship in the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. CENTCOM said the U.S. military hit about 140 different targets that were struck, including missile and drone sites. It's amazing how they still have those. How many times do we have to say on this show, it's amazing that the United States have taken out, 20,000 different targets that they've had, you believe, that the Iranians can still pop up these fucking different places to use as far as missile and drone sites, naval assets, ammunition storage facilities, communications infrastructure, and coastal surveillance positions. You'd think we'd have those dealt with by now. Something that was supposed to be a 4 to 6 week operation, a 4 to 6 week mission. Now, several fucking months beyond that at this point, still we're finding all of these targets that need to be hit because of the danger and the threat that they pose to either the shipping going through the strait or, again, the U.S. bases in the area there. So that says CENTCOM said that more than 300 targets have been hit during the 3 nights of the strikes that we've been covering and the ongoing bombings there, and that the operations were aimed at reducing Iran's ability to attack commercial shipping in the strait. The military added that the commercial vessel traffic through the waterway has continued, although statements from the IRGC and the Iranians are now claiming that the strait is closed. So again, take it with a grain of salt. Both sides here seem to be kind of happy with this abusive relationship that they've built. Unwilling on either side to recognize reality and to get a peace deal done. I'm sure that's based upon the children that we have in the United States administration right now, and obviously the people that we're dealing with as far as hardliners on the Iranian side as well. But 13 hours ago, CENTCOM completed the third round of strikes, as we just said. See if there's anything else from this, any footage coming out. Footage of the U.S. launching strikes on southern Iran. The HIMARS launches are coming from Bahrain bases. The police headquarters in Avaz, capital of the Khuzestan province, was hit by an airstrike. Also reports of Ardabil in the northwest of Iran that were hit. Images of an explosion in the Bandar Abbas, southern Iran. So again, how many times do we have to detail and talk about Sirik or Bandar Abbas being hit? Like, when do you consider those no longer viable militarily for the Iranians? Like, at some point, you should be able to rule those out as being a problem, as being a threat, at least for a certain period of time, unless, again, you're giving the Iranians ample credit in their ability to respond, their ability to rebuild, their ability to restock and resupply these different sites and on the different bits of munition that you guys say you've eliminated totally. You know what I mean? What are they? Again, they're not shooting spitballs at these fucking tankers in the Strait of Hormuz, I assure you. Let's see if there's anything else. This is footage coming out and some pictures, I believe, from those sheds, as they're describing them, from the 5th Fleet, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. It has emerged that the U.S. Army's Patriot PAC-3 long-range air defense battery protecting, this is Mawafik Salti Air Base in Jordan, failed to intercept the Iranian ballistic missiles launched by the IRGC. The U.S. Air Force was extremely fortunate, as we were talking about in the last post, that the planes were not hit. Well, here's some footage coming in and some pictures coming in from that strike there, or those strikes, depending on how many Iranian missiles were able to get through. I think this is the before, and then this is the areas in which that were targeted, if I'm not mistaken. And then obviously you can see here the after effects of those strikes as well. So lucky, definitely in one regard, that those planes, millions and millions and millions of dollars of aircraft, weren't taken out with those strikes. Obviously that no U.S. servicemen and women were killed or injured, as far as I've seen reported so far. Take that with a grain of salt. I'm sure that could change in a moment's notice as well. But as far as I've seen, so let's see here. This also says that Iran says it launched missile attacks on bases in Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, Jordan, Oman, and claims to have hit targets in Qatar. Earlier reports indicate missile launches toward Qatar, but the extent of the damage at the Al Udeid Air Base has not yet been independently confirmed. Officials from the United States and Qatar are still assessing the situation. Well, again, it's hard to assess how much damage has been done on the recent strikes, considering, to my knowledge, it's been very difficult for the United States to get in there and assess any damage that's occurred on a lot of these bases and to get an accurate depiction of, the cost associated with it and how much it would cost to rebuild these bases as they continue to be struck almost on a nightly basis here. It says Iran says it successfully struck a U.S. military base in Qatar. As we continue to report, this is from CENTCOM, just talking about their third round of strikes in this week, July 11th, holding Iranian forces accountable for attacking another commercial ship in the Strait of Hormuz. So obvious instability, obvious degradation of the situation continuing. Seems like the war hawks, the warmongers, and the people that love to have blood on their hands are actively getting their way, whether it's Newsmax, whether it's Fox News, whether it's Pete Hegseth. They seem to be in control, in charge of where this war goes, and it doesn't seem like it's going down a beneficial path or a path of, expedient resolution, let's just say. So much appreciated again for everybody in the chat trying to get us towards our goal. Thank you so much to Slacks. Let's go, Slacks. I see you in there, you hummer. You fucking hummer, you. I appreciate you. Thank you to Rocks. Very much appreciated. We're trying to get to our 20 super chat goal. And then again, will give me the kick in the ass, the light the fire under my seat. So as it were, to try to get you guys a nice long live stream from my trip to Europe. Again, OPSEC in mind. You guys have to understand that as well. I have other people in the in the group, other people to worry about as far as security is concerned. So I'll do my absolute best, but I just need you guys to give me that extra boost. Thank you so much to Rocks. Thank you to Slacks. I see in there. He says, Slava Ukraini. Love to you, brother. Love to all my fellow Bryantologists. Hey, Oval Office, orangutan. Do you know that war on rhymes with moron? Dumping the maggot loyalists are not doing so good. Much appreciated, Slacks. Thank you so much for that $20 contribution. Thank you so much to Carol Pack as well for the 5 gifted memberships. And then everybody else, make sure you stick around to the end of the show. That's just a little taste. That's just a little snippet of the thanks and appreciation and the congratulations that I show again at the end of every single show. Hey, Alex, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Great show the other day. Again, my apologies. That force of habit took over. I'm just so used to it, introducing Jeff as far as Wednesday afternoons are concerned that it just popped into my head. So appreciate you for being here again. And thank you to everybody else gifting, whether it's Yakov, Laurie, thank you to Bri, Damon, Carol, Stogmas, Deb, Slacks, everybody. We'll go over it at the end of the show. Please stick around. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. All right, here we go. You guys ready? Because the news this morning, which I'm sure you're aware of, was not exactly what anybody was expecting, to say the least, right? As I said in the opening, as you guys opened your eye this morning, one eye half open, and you kind of were wiping the sleep out of your eye, and you saw something about a dead person in Congress, you were like, oh, Mitch McConnell, right? I'm sure that was somebody in this chat was their first thought, was Mitch McConnell. But no. Apparently, neocon, warmonger, and Trump cuck Lindsey Graham apparently died of an alleged heart attack at the age of 71. So we'll be going through just kind of the news surrounding that, the speculation again surrounding his timing of his Ukraine trip, the announcement of the sanctions or the apparent sanctions that he's getting ready to impose or was ready to maybe kind of go to Donald Trump to hope to impose. More to come from that as well. But yeah, let me throw this on the screen. It says Senator Lindsey Graham dies at 71 after brief and sudden illness. And I know, there's a lot of people out there, kind of really clutching their pearls over this. I don't want to get thrown off of YouTube for saying kind of how I do feel. There was one song which kind of said it better than I could. So I think let me just, I think that says it much better than I ever could as far as that's concerned. Because, somebody with that much blood on his hands, somebody that's responsible for that much, again, so many bad things and so much degradation to our society and rights and people of color and everything that we could, throw on the list as far as what Lindsey Graham is responsible for. I'm just not going to cry over spilt milk, something my grandmother taught me very early on. Don't cry over spilt milk. And I'm certainly not going to be shedding any tears here. I am not a cold-hearted person by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm sure there wasn't too many sane people weeping when Hitler took his own life. So I'm just going to throw that out there as far as, the sentiment of where I lie on this. Once again, I can't say it, but I do think they... So let's just see if we can go through a little bit of what we know, what's being speculated on as far as this is concerned. Says Lindsey Graham, who was elected to the Senate in 2002, and was a close political ally of President Donald Trump, has died. His office confirmed early Sunday. He was 71. Graham died Saturday night from a brief and sudden illness, they said. And again, I think the appropriate test will show, and I think the reaction from Lindsey Graham and people surrounding him should be pretty clear if there was some nefarious means behind this, some nefarious play. Let's just say, I don't know, maybe some Novichok or some poison involved as far as, I don't know, some Russians are concerned. I just think it would be very apparent. And there's only one way that you'd be pointing the finger, especially after his, the announcement of the sanctions, his 10th trip to Ukraine, him just getting back. Like, I think it would be rather easy for people to, to figure out where to point the finger at if that was to come to light. But says President Trump led tribute Sunday. We have a couple comments from Trump, too. I forget who he was on with, but, once again, made it all about himself, as did Benjamin Netanyahu and his interviews that he's done talking about the death of Lindsey Graham, basically trying to, again, get all of their different agendas filled, trying to do their own bidding, but using Lindsey Graham's death and, what he was supportive of. which was, again, all of the genocide that Israel was perpetrating, more and more weapons to Israel, more and more funding to Israel, letting them go rampant in Lebanon, letting them do anything they possibly could, up to and including nuclear weapons in Gaza, as I'm sure you guys have seen the clip. If not, make sure you check that one out. I think I have it pulled up on the show anyway. We're going to go through a lot of what Lindsey Graham has said. But yeah, everybody's getting the news this morning. This is an apparent picture here. A person is wheeled from Senator Lindsey Graham's home into an ambulance on Saturday night. And again, that is not a replay of Mitch McConnell coming out of his house. That is, again, allegedly Lindsey Graham. Top staffer to Graham told NBC News earlier that there was no indication the lawmaker was feeling unwell prior to his death. He had been scheduled to appear on NBC News' Meet the Press on Sunday morning. Graham was frequent. He was a frequent guest on the broadcast, appearing a total of 63 times. Majority Leader John Thune, to a strong advocate for the United States and strong ally to freedom-loving countries across the globe, which is utter horse shit, considering what the guy espoused. I mean, the same guy that said he was done, he was out. It was too much after January 6th. But again, all it took was about 13 or 14 different maggots to chase him through a couple airports for him to, completely reverse and change his mind as far as that was concerned. And he was right back on the MAGA train, right back up Donald Trump's asshole on the MAGA cult. Let's see if there's anything else in here to report. I also had, I want to throw this one up there as well. I got to start getting rid of some of these, just some of the things that we've already gone over. Stop slowing the computer down. All right, let me throw this on the screen for you. This is posted by Republicans Against Trump. And again, this is how most people will and should remember Lindsey Graham. And this is him, what he used to say, along with Marco Rubio, about Donald Trump, and then what he turned into and exactly what he defends and obfuscates for, or did defend and obfuscate for, right up until his death there. So again, this is just a little clip, about a minute and 30 seconds long, posted by Republicans Against Trump. And he says, Lindsey Graham on Trump. He says, he's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party. He doesn't represent the values that the men and women who wear the uniform are fighting to. And this was back in 2015. And then you pair that up with, and look at that and put that against the wall together with what Lindsey Graham has been responsible for since this, fucking literally clutching the pearls of Donald Trump, hanging on to the coattails, poking his head out of the anus of Donald Trump every now and again to say this or that, or how great Donald Trump is, or how much we need to continue to send weapons to Israel, or how much we should, think about dropping nuclear weapons, because that's what we did on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? But again, this is just a quick, I think, super cut or just a general clip from his 2015 appearance on CNN, where much like Marco Rubio, you guys will probably remember these. Remember when Marco Rubio used to say things like this?
There's no way we are going to allow a con artist to take over the conservative movement, and Donald Trump is a con artist. I can just tell you that a con artist is about to take over the Republican Party and the conservative movement, and we have to put a stop to it.
So again, actively working inside that administration, helping perpetrate all of the different dangerous things that this administration is responsible for right now. How could you possibly have espoused that at one point in time, much like J.D. Vance espoused that Donald Trump was America's Hitler and many other things that were anti-Trump? And then you got Lindsey Graham, who was pretty clear-headed, pretty concise on what Donald Trump represented, on what he meant, and what he showed as far as his personality traits were concerned. But again, now, it's impossible for me to sit here and feel any sympathy, compassion, or empathy as far as this man's life is concerned.
I want to talk to the Trump supporters for a minute. I don't know who you are, and I don't know why you like this guy. I think what you like about him, he appears to be strong when the rest of us are weak. He's a very successful businessman, and he's going to make everything great. He's going to take all the problems of the world and put them in a box and make your life better. That's what he's selling. Here's what you're buying. He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party. He doesn't represent the values that the men and women who wear the uniform are fighting for. I've been in the Air Force for 33 years. I retired this June. He's the ISIL Man of the Year, by the way. Just got back from Iraq a week ago this Monday.
I know, we interviewed you live.
So again, now if you were to ask him more recently, when he was breathing, of course, what he thought about, these type of comments and things that were espoused about Donald Trump in the past, I'm sure he would have had this to say. Which is, again, representative of my feelings of this whole situation. But yeah, it goes on because Scary Larry posted this as well, just kind of going through some of the past posts, the past tweets that really are kind of fitting of the moment right now, as dark as it is to say. Lindsey Graham's gone, but this tweet will live on forever, Scary Larry says. He could have deleted it, but he never did. one of the very few things he got right. And this was a Lindsey Graham post from 5/3/2016, where he says, if we nominate Trump, we will get destroyed and we will deserve it. Okay. And typically, as I posted on Blue Sky this morning, it seems like, the stress put upon yourself, lying about not only yourself and what what you love and things that you like to do, but obviously lying about your party, lying about Donald Trump, warmongering and neoconning as much as, Lindsey Graham has done, ultimately takes its toll on a person, ultimately has some health complications and has some health effects down the line, as we possibly are seeing right here. But as Larry said, one of the few things that Lindsey Graham got right: if we nominate Trump, we will get destroyed and we will deserve it. And it went on. It's not just that. There's this other supercut. This is posted by Brooklyn Dad Defiant, and he says, I have no good memories of Lindsey Graham. His transformation from a guy who utterly despised Trump, his infamous "if we nominate Trump" tweet, into Trump's chief lick spittle and ball washer was sad. The disgraceful legacy he leaves behind is of a spineless and as a warmonger, eager to nuke women and children in Gaza. That's how I will remember him, and that's how I shall remember this piece of shit as well. And again, this is just a quick supercut, I believe, if not just a straight clip of him calling for and justifying the use of nuclear weapons inside of Gaza by the Israeli military.
So when we were faced with destruction as a nation after Pearl Harbor, fighting the Germans and the Japanese, we decided to end the war by bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki with nuclear weapons. That was the right decision. Give Israel the bombs they need to end the war they can't afford to lose, and work with them to minimize casualties. Well, can I say this? Why is it okay for America to drop 2 nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki to end their existential threat war? Why was it okay for us to do that? I thought it was okay. To Israel, do whatever you have to do to survive as a Jewish state. Senator, were we wrong to drop an atomic bomb to end the Japanese reign of terror? Were we? So my view, if I were Israel, I would have probably done it the same way. When this regime goes down.
So again, calling for the outright use of nuclear weapons inside of Gaza by the Israeli military, the same way he approached the war in Iran, right? More bombs, the better. The more infrastructure hit, the better. Donald Trump needs to stick it to them, make sure that we can take out as many of them as humanly possible, go as far as you possibly can, Mr. President. I mean, nobody was a bigger neocon warmonger. Nobody enjoyed seeing the blood of people being spilt. Nobody loved a war. Nobody saw a war that he didn't enjoy and want to get involved in more than fucking Lindsey Graham. I'm sure there's other names that we could throw onto that list as well. But, as far as my recollection, as far as my time in political commentary is concerned, Lindsey Graham meets that mark more than most of the other people and pieces of shit that we could pull up as well. And a lot of people, and again, to a certain extent, I don't deny the fact that there should be at least a little bit of credit where people on the Republican side are unwilling, or again, on the opposite side, just ultimately defending Russia and want to see the destruction of Ukraine. To a certain extent, Lindsey Graham did step up. Okay, he did go over there. He did advocate for things that were beneficial to the Ukrainian people, to the Ukrainian military. Did advocate for assistance of Volodymyr Zelensky. So on a very small scale, I will give him some flowers for the shit that he did and the things that he wanted to see happen for Ukraine. But a big fucking but here. I want to make sure that everybody understands that at any fucking point, that if Lindsey Graham did anything espousing to be even remotely beneficial to the people of Ukraine or for Ukraine, there was always money at the pot of the end of the rainbow, okay? There was always some sort of mineral deal. There was always some way that he or the United States government was going to enrich himself or profit from this war. So, even if he came to the same conclusions based off of nefarious means, like I still am going to afford him some credit based upon, again, the unwillingness that the rest of his party shows in defending this fight against Russia. But that being said, here's another instance, again, him being on one of his trips there to Ukraine, standing with Volodymyr Zelensky, and just listen to the way that he describes and the way that he reasons to himself why we need to continue supporting Ukraine, because of the billions in dollars of minerals and the billions in dollars in weapons and in military deals that could be done, and this and that, and getting getting involved in this and putting our thumb on that scale and, making sure that we get a piece of that pie. It was always fucking something about profiting from this at the end of the day, and he always managed to put it into every single one of his sentences. This is posted by Jungle Journey. It says another instance of Lindsey Graham talking up the Ukraine war to loot the minerals in the Donbass. Excuse me, I don't know why that was so difficult for me to read. Just didn't seem like it made sense, but now it does. Now it does. But listen to the way that Lindsey Graham here tries to justify money to meet the ends and justify the means here.
I'm here with President Zelensky. I am such a admirer of what you and your country have done. You're trying to stop the Russians so we don't have to fight them. They don't want any American troops. They just need the weapons to free their country of a terrible invasion. They're sitting on $1 trillion worth of minerals that could be good to our economy.
Like, he's right in what he was saying. If he could just continue on that same path, it would have been fucking fantastic. If he could just not bring up the billions of dollars that we could potentially score from this deal or that deal. Like, that's not the mindset that we go into. We're not helping the Ukrainians so that we could profit from it, okay? We're not going in there so we can get a piece of this company or a piece of that action. We're doing it because it's the right fucking thing to do. We're doing it because we forced them basically to give up their nuclear arsenal in the promise that we would protect them in this exact situation with the Budapest Memorandum. So it's like the billions and billions of dollars that he keeps talking about shows you his mindset. And it's difficult because, again, being as passionate about this fight as I am and wanting to see the best for the Ukrainians, no matter how we could possibly get there, I do have to recognize that and I'm sure in some instances, he's been, or was, I should say, consequential in either stopping some of the other Republicans from, putting the wrench in the gears of helping Ukraine, or at some point making it easier for others in his Republican Party or others, underneath him to support them, to support Ukraine in their fight against Russia, even in a small, very small way. So again, both sides of the coins can be true here, but I do want to reiterate the fact that all of the time, his help and assistance and anything that pertained to Ukraine was always had the dollar signs in the background. It was always about profit. It was always about a piece of the puzzle that he or the United States could get from this. And it was never just based upon the love of the people or humanity or democracy or any of the things that, again, we are there to uphold. We are there, the reasons that we continue to defend and support the Ukrainians in their fight. It's, it's sick the way that he continued to have to bring that up. And I just want to make sure to reiterate to people where there's a lot of people out there on both sides of the aisle trying to, I think, give him a little bit too much credit. And I want to make sure that we kind of rein everybody back down to earth as far as that's concerned and really speak about the issues and really speak about the person and why he was doing what he was doing and why he may have been defending and supportive of the things that he was defending and supportive of. But that kind of leads me to this because, boy, oh boy, I know it's not the same thing. I know it's not the same person, but this is probably more along the lines of what everybody was suspecting they were going to see this morning. Or at least what that alert that you got this morning was about. This is Persia Boy Hemet, and this is about Mitch McConnell. Already getting one out there about Mitch McConnell's hospitalization and his health scare and the speculation and the propaganda surrounding whether or not he's still breathing. Obviously, questions and concerns are now arising up as far as, South Carolina and Kentucky are concerned, what they're going to do as far as their battle, the numbers, and kind of the discrepancy between what the Republicans need and what they have as far as numbers in the House and the Senate at this point in time. So they're dropping like flies, but that's what happens. Again, the health really takes a toll, really gets hammered when you have to lie consistently to yourself, about your political party, about the genocidal, bigoted, homophobic, transphobic things that you espouse and the policies that you want to put in place and defending pedophiles all the time. It's fucking tiresome, I bet. I bet it takes a toll. And it looks like, again, if the Novichok and the Russians didn't get to him, the stress of defending Donald Trump where he knew he shouldn't be doing that got to him as well. But let me just play this one again about a whole different Republican that we're now suspecting or trying to figure out, are they still breathing or not, is Mitch McConnell. And this is titled Flatline Turtle. And I think there's already one, if I'm not mistaken, about about Lindsey Graham as well. So after that, we'll see if I'll go to his page and see, because I know he's quick with it. So I'm sure he's had ample time already to produce some content about the news of the day, the breaking news of Lindsey Graham dying from an apparent and alleged heart attack at the age of 71. So let's see what trouble we can get into here. Again, this was about Mitch McConnell, which I'm sure everybody thought was the alert they got this morning.
Beep, beep. 20 minutes. 20-minute Mitch, 20-minute Mitch. Flatline turtle with a war hawk itch. No tape, no face, no hospital clip. DC swears that they talk like this. 20-minute Mitch, 20-minute Mitch. I ran on the call when the war drums hit. Israel checks and a lobbyist script. Who was really speaking for Mitch? Beep, beep. Old turtle shell, same old game. War votes quick when the donors came. Same old game. Blank stare frozen, but the check still clear. Kentucky gets crumbs, but the bombs get near. They said he talked, they said he sharp. 20-minute call from the hospital doc. Iran got named, Ukraine got tossed. Every crisis got a lobbyist cost. No clip, no room, no timestamp shown. Just DC selling a voice on the phone. If the story is real, let the tape exist, but they keep hiding behind. 20-minute Mitch, 20-minute Mitch, 20-minute Mitch. Flatline turtle with a war hawk itch. No tape, no face, no hospital clip. DC swears that he talked like this. 20-minute Mitch, 20-minute Mitch. I ran on the call when the war drums hit. Israel checks and a lobbyist script. Who was really speaking for Mitch? Turtle shell hard, spine gone soft. War machine turns and the phone goes off. 20 minutes, perfect pitch. Everybody suddenly heard from Mitch.
No tape,
Beep, beep. No face.
20 minutes.
Big fake.
Sacred defense.
20 minutes. No receipts. Flatline turtle.
Sacred defense.
Oh, fucking hell on that one. Good Lord almighty. So that was about Mitch. Let's see here, because I'm sure, like I see, yep, I knew it. If I know my Persia boy Hemat here, he's had plenty of time to come out with a banger here. Looks like, all right, he's got two of them out. All right, let's see what's going on. Here. What do we got? Oh.
First on the list. Warhawk down, 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 down. Warhawk down, Warhawk down. Lindsey flatline, hear it now. You call for fire on every town. First on the list. Warhawk down, Warhawk down, Warhawk down. No Senate shield, no donor crown. All your words come circling round. First on the list, Warhawk down, yeah. You said give Israel every bomb they need. Level the place, make the whole thing bleed. Strike the refineries, hit the sites. Overwhelming force day and night from the Senate floor. You fed that flame, new map, new target. Same old game, you called it strength as the bombers pass. Now every word comes back at last. No more Senate floor, no camera light. No staff are there to spend the night. Guards that kept count and kept names. Every ruined home remembers the flames. Now you stand before judging with nowhere to hide. Men have children, souls standing side by side. You wish for destruction, you wish for the end. Now they're the ones watching as your soul descends. Warhawk down, Warhawk down. Lindsey flatline, hear it now. You called for fire on every town. First on the list, Warhawk down, Warhawk down, Warhawk down. No Senate shield, no donor crown. All your words come circling round. First on the list, Warhawk down.
And this is titled Warhawk Down. First on the list, Lindsey Graham spent years calling for bombs, overwhelming force, and destruction across the region. Now history has spoken. Manab children's souls stand ready to judge him. Karma doesn't forget. This is the fate of Warmonger's sacred defense. And I think he's even got one more here. I don't think it's as involved. I think it's just kind of a short clip of the Reaper meeting Lindsey Graham and Lindsey Graham meeting the Reaper. So it looks like Karma off the top rope this morning for Lindsey Graham. Let's see what he's gotten into in this one. So it says Lindsey Graham is deceased. Thank you, sudden illness, as is posted here for that one. But, you know, I'm saying if you don't want people to think you're a piece of shit, if you don't want people to call you a piece of shit, whether you're alive or deceased, then don't be a piece of shit. Don't call for, you know, the active bombing of children. Don't call for the active bombing of, you know, an innocent population. Don't continue to perpetrate and you know, defend a genocide. Like, easy things. Call out pedophiles, right? Don't obfuscate for people that are trying to hide their involvement in this in the Epstein trafficking ring. Like, all these things. And the list, I'm sure, continues to go on. But, you know, just, you don't want people to think you're a piece of shit and call you a piece of shit. After you've been a piece of shit, don't be a piece of shit. I think that's pretty good life lessons that we could follow as far as that's concerned. But let me see here, because I just wanted to go through, oh boy, a minute of the President of the United States making this all about him. He was on with, I think, Kristen Welker with Meet the Press, if I'm not mistaken. And he had, is posted by here, Aaron Rupar, put on a clip. I don't know if it's a super clip or, you know, a bunch of different clips of this, or if it's just a 7-minute and 39 segment, which we don't have to go through the entirety of. But I just want you to listen to how selfish and egotistical this son of a bitch is. And even when, again, the death of somebody that he would say is very close to him happens, he can't help but make it all about himself. The same way, I don't know if we'll have time to get to it, but the same way that Benjamin Netanyahu did as well. You know what I mean? Oh, geez, we don't even need the United States anymore. But Lindsey Graham, boy, did he want us to have all these weapons. And, you know, who am I to stand in the way, which is the basic sentiment of Benjamin Netanyahu this morning. But I just wanted to go through a minute of this and see how much Trump makes this about himself. And then I'll go on and see what other trouble we can get into. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys, all of you, for getting us to our goal already. As I can see, I'm sure there's some membership updates and some milestones in there as well. So keep them coming in, guys. Very much appreciated. Love and appreciate and respect the shit out of you for supporting channels, this channel in general, and channels just like this, obviously. So again, hit that like button, share this out, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 25,000 subscribers before midterm elections. And if you want to follow along on our upcoming journey to Ukraine to hand over some more vehicles to the frontline troops, make sure you subscribe to not only the YouTube, but also Facebook, Instagram, the Twitch, Substack, all of the platforms that you possibly can. And you can find links to all of those at bostonbrian.com. So check that out, please. Thank you, guys. All right, let's get into a little of this Meet the Press. And I'm sure Donald Trump's making his rounds with other networks as well. So I'm sure there's going to be other maniacal, genocidal, ridiculous clips to come out of this. But I just want to see how much he makes this about himself on with Meet the Press. I think this is one of the first ones he did, one of the first statements he was given as far as comments and statements on Lindsey Graham's death here. So let's see what he has to say.
And I know that we are all just absorbing this news. We are all in shock. Can you
speak for yourself? Speak for yourself. Not in shock whatsoever. Not in shock that, again, the guy that has been responsible for what Lindsey Graham has been responsible for, and what he, you know, continues to espouse, that ultimately that stress would get to the human body. Not surprised.
Tell us, Mr. President, how you received this news and your immediate gut reaction when you heard it.
So what makes it even stranger is that I got a call last night sometime.
So apparently Trump's making this call from either the bottom of a pool or under about as much sand as could be found before this phone call was made. I'm not sure. He might be on the Qatari jet, knowing the level of communication systems on there. It sounds like he's calling from either his Nokia or the Qatari jet. So my apologies for the sound quality on this, but I mean, it's just, you spend $1 billion on an aircraft or wherever he's fucking calling from, you'd think you'd get like a clear phone line maybe, but no.
The early evening, maybe in the 7s, and he called and he said, we're all set for the Save America Act. He was pushing the Save America Act like crazy.
Right off the bat, using his death to try to fit his agenda. Right? Trying to push something that he's been trying to continuously push, regardless if it had to do with fucking Lindsey Graham or John Thune or anybody else. He's been pushing. We talked about how he canceled the signing of the housing bill because he was trying to, again, hold this over the heads of the people there to try to get the Save America Act thing. So now he said, well, I was the last person to talk to him, again, making it about himself. And then what they talked about was, of course, something that would benefit Donald Trump or something that he could benefit from going on Meet the Press and talking about. And it's weird how it lines right up with his talking points, his rhetoric, and his propaganda that he talks about everywhere else. And again, regardless if it has to do with, the death of Lindsey Graham or not.
In fact, said he just landed from Ukraine. I said, that's a long trip to make. He said he sounded a little tired, but perfect, but a little bit tired. I had a right to be.
You mean like you sound right now? Horrendous, on the verge of death and tired?
He was a worker. He was really a worker, but he sounded great actually. But he actually said he was tired, but he wanted to pass the Save America Act, and I said, well, we're going to get it done, Lindsey. We're going to get it done. I'll see you soon.
It is amazing how these fucking autocrats and dictators just consistently try to use the worst of the worst situations, what is supposed to be, not a thing used for your political benefit to their political benefit. And again, whether it's Trump here in this one, I'll let this play just another minute or so, and then I'll see if I can find the post there from Benjamin Netanyahu, and you can listen to the similarities and how they try to use the death of Lindsey Graham to, again, espouse and to continue their propaganda, continue to push out their beliefs and whatever agenda that they want to see met. It's amazing. You know what I mean? It's just, there's no loyalty whatsoever. There's no emotional attachment. There's no actual love or, like a sign that you actually cared or respected the person. It's all, yeah, things that I have to say politically, things that I should say, things that my team fed me to say, and let me get out that he liked this Save America Act and wanted to send all the weapons platforms we possibly could, including nuclear weapons, to Israel so they could continue bombing Gaza. But all right, just another minute of this, like I said, see how much more he can make it about himself.
We might even meet today. And then that was it. And that was, very around the time. It couldn't have been much longer. It could have been his last call. I don't know exactly, but I got a message about 1:00 in the morning from one of the people in his office that he had passed away. I said, I just can't believe it.
Yeah, you sound really broken up about it. You sound really shook up. You're going to take the day off, you think? Or are you still going to make it out there for 18 holes, sir? Just curious. Just wondering if, how much you actually do care about this, how much you're actually going to mourn this, or if it's just, again, the phone call that you needed to make, and Stephen Chung said that you needed to make, even though you despised Lindsey Graham's guts, because, again, of the things that he said after January 6th. You know damn well you never cared for him again if you cared for him before that, even if at all, right? So, Donald Trump here lying through his goblet, lying through his fucking neck vagina here, trying to say that he cared about Lindsey Graham. You can tell in his voice he didn't give a shit.
He was like a member of the family to me. It's very tough, actually.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Mr. President.
He was.
President, it is just extraordinary. You just spoke with him last night. His office says he passed away from a brief and sudden illness. Are you learning any more details about how and why he may have passed? Did he tell you anything in that phone call, Mr. President, about not feeling well?
No, he said he's a little tired. It was a long trip, many hours. And he had just gotten back. And it must have been right after that, because I understand the police or whoever it is came there at about 7:30, 8:00 in the evening, something like that. So somebody notified him. But no, he felt okay. I actually, on the call, he told me, Kristen, he said, I feel good, but I'm tired. He was fine. I knew him well. He would let you know if he wasn't feeling well. He had days where he didn't feel so well, and he'd let you know about it. But he was a fantastic person. He was a man who you're going to watch. It's going to be a very big thing with him. He's going to be appreciated more now than he was when he was living.
Jesus Christ Almighty! Oh my good God! Is that typically what you guys say about, a family member, friend, somebody that you loved, somebody that you cared for when they die? He's going to be more respected now that he's not breathing, now that he's going to be 6 feet under than he was while the son of a bitch was alive. Holy fucking heartless Batman. Jesus Christ Almighty. Yeah. You know what's going to happen here? People are going to think about more of him now that he's dead than they thought of him when he was alive. What the fuck? Who says that shit? Who says that shit is fucking wild. Absolutely wild. And again, trying to lie through his teeth and say that he actually gave a shit about Lindsey Graham is clearly a lie, considering we all know Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about anybody but himself. Let me see here. I want to see if Aaron has any of the Netanyahu comments that he was responsible for. I think this morning, obviously, if I'm not mistaken, I could probably just type it in, actually. Let's not waste any time. Just type in Netanyahu. And you can see the similarities, right? You can see the way in which that they both try to make this about themselves, the way that they both try to turn this into their agenda, and so they could benefit their own agenda. Let's see here. This is a post by Netanyahu. It says, "I already miss you, my friend." So I don't know if this is the exact clip, but let's see here what this genocidal freak has to say about the other genocidal freak that was willing to give him nuclear weapons to continue his genocidal push into Gaza and Lebanon and other places as well. So let's see what this guy has to say.
He was such an American patriot. He was unabashedly for America, and he was unabashedly against the enemies of America. And he spoke what he thought. You know, I had a way with him. He had this charming Southern drawl, and you knew something was coming when he would say, "Well, I'm just a poor old Southern boy," and then you know he's coming in with the most penetrating insight. That
we bomb away is probably the insight that he was coming with. Make sure you bomb them hard, bomb them deep, bomb them good, BB. That was probably the levels of insight that Lindsey Graham was, responsible for giving.
Few people can deny, and that everybody recognizes is the truth. He had a way with him. He was a wonderful, wonderful friend, a great American patriot, and a great champion of the Israel-American alliance, and I'll miss him personally.
Yeah, sure. Almost trying to work up a tear there. You see that one? He's trying to do the like trying to fucking inflect his voice to make it sound like he's all broken up. Let me see here. This is the one that I think I was talking about. This is one he was saying. This is the one where Netanyahu's trying to say, again, at a time where the United States and the Israeli militaries have never been more integrated, have never been more closely aligned, closely affiliated than we are at this moment in time, where we saw, what was it, section, I know I'm going to get this wrong, 227? Was it section 227 or 224? If one of the two at this point in time that saw and wanted to see even further military integration between the United States and Israel. This is Benjamin Netanyahu trying to get everybody to believe that he now wants to become independent, right, militarily and every other aspect from the United States and every other country, so that they have more than enough money to do it. And at some point, they want to see that happen. Meanwhile, again, we're seeing the further integration of the IDF and the Israeli military to the United States military. But this is where he said, I don't want any more weapons from the United States. I don't want you guys to send me any more weapons. But Lindsey Graham wasn't going to allow that to happen. I said, we don't need anything, Lindsey. And he said, nope, I'm going over your head and I'm going to send you as many weapons as you can handle. That's what he tries to say here. Listen to this bullshit.
But let me tell you, the last conversation I had with him, I said, Lindsey, we've come of age. We have a robust economy.
Good. Then you don't need us, you prick. Then you don't need a single goddamn red cent or fucking piece of weaponry or ammunition from us. How about that? Continue to say that. Continue to tell everybody how well you're doing and how you guys can go around the world and buy up different companies to make different fucking explosive pages. You guys got enough money to do all that? Then you don't need a fucking dollar of ours, do you? Because we don't see a fucking a spot of benefit from it, I can assure you. I know that much.
We can take care of our own financing our own weapons for the defense of Israel and defense of our common interests with America.
Then do it, fucker.
So I'm going to phase out the support, the military support for Israel over a period of years. And
again, as we're being more integrated, does that line up with what we're seeing now between the intelligence agencies and the military aspects between the United States military and the IDF? Is that what we're seeing now? Are you pulling away from us? Why? Because you now understand that half the people, if not more on the planet, don't support your fucking genocide? You know what I mean? All of a sudden you come into light. If you don't need us, then good. We can cut it off right now. I don't think there's going to be any more arguments to that.
Bring it down to zero. We can do it. And he went ballistic. He said, no way, you can't do that, because he was so concerned with our security, which he believed was your security, that he actually fought the Prime Minister of Israel on keeping America's aid or actually increasing it. And that
again, using the death of Lindsey Graham to get across the fact that, no, it's the Americans. It's not the Israelis. It's not the Israeli government that wants the assistance and wants the weaponry. It's the people of America. It's the politicians that are desperate to continue sending money, taxpayer money, and fucking ammunition over there so they can continue to further the genocide that Israel's perpetrating, everywhere they go, basically. So it's just amazing the similarities between Trump and Netanyahu in the way that they, again, everything is to their political benefit, no matter if it's bad news, good news, indifferent news, horrendous news. It all has to be spun and propagandized to their political benefit so they can get some sort of gain out of it. And it doesn't matter if it's the death of a senator, a death of a friend, a death of an enemy. They will try to use that for their political expediency without a shadow of doubt. And you can see here that, Netanyahu and Trump are making their rounds, along the media routes to try to do their best to talk up not only the necessity for the continued partnership between the United States and Israel, but how much, everybody is desperate to continue sending them weapons. And it's not just me, I didn't want to see it, but, if Lindsey Graham's going to go over my head, who am I to stop him to continue sending weapons? But all right, that's about enough of that as far as we're concerned. And I'll just reiterate one more time, since I can't stipulate on YouTube my exact feelings on this situation. I think this round, this kind of sums it up better than I could. All right. So next story that we'll be talking about today is some updates coming from Ukraine. We're going to be talking about the deadly attacks, the increasingly deadly attacks, not only into different giant oil refineries inside of Russia, but the attacks into the different tankers in the Sea of Azov, to the point where the Russians had to suspend their routes, showing you again the efficacy and how unbelievable the Ukrainians have been at not only the amount of targets that they could strike, but how effective they are against those targets as well. So a few different things I want to go over. There's a couple posts from Jay in Kyiv over the last few hours that I just wanted to go through if I could before we get into some of the videos here. Like I said, he's Jay in Kyiv, one of the betters at posting the information, the news coming out of Ukraine as well. So just wanted to show you some of the things that were posted here. This is yesterday by Jay in Kyiv, posted originally by Exel Nova, which is talking about the fact that the Russian forces are now using civilian school buses for military purposes. So this is a fairly common practice. Russian propaganda then exploits the strikes on targets to create misleading narratives and manipulate Western audiences. We would appreciate your help in spreading this information, especially among international audiences on relevant social media platforms. And you can see here them kind of positioning themselves, posing in front of this, what made to look like a school bus. So again, if the Ukrainians were ever to hit this, undoubtedly the Russians would call them, war criminals for hitting a school bus, and they'd say that there was, 20 children attached to it, or in the school bus there, when really it was being utilized by the Russian military. You can see, I think there was some jugs in there, as you can see. Let me throw this on the screen.
Дорогие друзья, вчера, слава богу,
So all filled with, supplies that they would need taken to the front. You can see these idiots here talking about putting the supplies on there. There's going to hear a lot about the Syzran oil refinery as well. Another one of the major Russian oil refineries that was struck. This is posted 11 hours ago. He says, Petro Armageddon continues across Russia this morning as the Syzran oil refinery is again targeted by Ukraine's drone fleets. Several areas of the facility are currently burning. Owned by Rosneft, this refinery processes over 8 million tons per year, over 180,000 barrels a day. So let's just see if we could take a look at some of the sights and the sounds coming in from this recent strike by the Ukrainians on another giant oil refinery inside of Russia. And I think I could even, let me see if I can get rid of these, all the things that we were talking about. Lindsey Graham, I don't want this stinking up my computer anyway. Got to keep it on ice, otherwise it's going to start stinking. So let me get rid of that, I'm going to bring up the map here, and we're going to take a look at, before we get into some of these clips, before we get into some of the footage of this strike, just so everybody's on the same page and up to date on where this is inside of Russia. Again, it helps me visually to see this on the map, to be able to visualize how far into Russia, how many times these things have been struck, what has to be utilized and performed for the Ukrainians to get there. So let me just see if I can do I'll do Samara, which I know is close. Samara in Russia. Do this. All right. So I think it's just just west of Samara is going to be right here, if I'm not mistaken, which is Syzran. Yep, there it is right here. And if we zoom in, see if I had it pinpointed earlier, the actual refinery area of the city here. Let me see. Shouldn't be too difficult to spot the tanks. Yeah, here's some tanks here. I don't think this is necessarily the area that was struck. If you go back to, let me see if I can go back to this one. Shows you pretty good in this one right here. You can see the, the smokestacks, the red and white smokestacks in the area. You can see the houses in the foreground there. Clearly looks to be a much more widespread. You actually don't even see any tanks in that photograph right there or in the beginning of that video. So if we go back to this, I think it's probably more likely, let me just zoom out a little bit more, that it was, where did I see it before? This area down in here? Yeah, I think it was down in here. There it is right here. I think it was more likely that it was this area that was struck, right? Because you can see, and I'll just show you a little tricks of the trade here. See these shadows? See how it's difficult to tell at this angle? Here, I'll even get out of the way so you guys can see the entirety of this, right? Then we can go to the angle. We can change the angle of this, the tilt. So we'll just change the tilt here. You can see these red and white smokestacks here. You can see the shadow. So that's giving you a clear indication that something is a lot taller than everything else in the surrounding area there. So in case you're looking at these maps and sometimes it's in 2D and it's difficult to tell, the height profile of some of the things that you're looking at, that's one way that you could look and tell as far as that is concerned. But if we change our heading, you could probably get almost the exact look and replica. Well, that's probably too much there. But you can get the exact idea of where these, where the photographs are coming in from. So you got houses over here, could be taken from this angle, looking that way. Or again, you got houses in this vicinity as well. So you could be looking at it from this angle into the, into the field itself. So let me go around probably this angle of direction right here. So you're going into this huge area. I mean, look how big the area is too. It's crazy. I'll change the heading again. Look at how big. Oil tanks, all of this equipment having to do with the refining process as well. I don't know what the fuck half of this shit does, but it is just an immense oil refinery, as most of them are inside of Russia, typically attached to immense railway connections, railway tracks, and obviously a lot of them have ports of connections as well to be able to get it on ships. But this is the Volga, same river that Volgograd, or AKA Stalin, is located on as well. But just to give everybody an idea, we'll zoom out and where this is in Russia, just to kind of give you an idea of how far away we're now talking about. Let's see here. You can see Ukraine. Let's change the heading again. Give this is probably the more accurate direction. So here's Samara over here. As you can see, obviously here's Kharkiv, here's Kyiv in this area right here. So a pretty substantial distance. There's Moscow up here. We've also talked about the Omsk refinery, Omsk being over here. We've also talked about a couple other refineries in this area nearer to Mongolia as well. Irkutsk was one of them, which here's Irkutsk. Is in this area. We've talked about Chita, which is way up here. So again, the range of these strikes is ever increasing. The amount of these strikes is ever increasing, and the efficacy of these strikes is ever increasing by the Ukrainian military. So just to kind of give everybody an idea of where we're going to be talking about as far as these strikes is concerned, are related, is that one right there. So let's see if we can go on here. More about the fuel shortages. This is tensions continue to run high at Russian service stations with waits of up to several days, driving the natives into fuel frenzy. We've detailed, the people sleeping in their cars, people sleeping in their tents, people literally standing in the way of fuel bouses so they could get fuel, where the government vehicles and the official vehicles themselves have been first in line, and all of the rest of the, the average citizens have to sit there and wait for their own turn. But here's a couple more instances of people getting fed up with each other. Look at this.
Страсти накаляются. Вот так вот заправляются люди. Относитесь друг к другу с уважением. Все мы равны, и всем нам нужен бензин. Все хотим заправляться. Вот и драка, ребят.
Oh, hey now. Hey now. Fuck, man, I wait in line fucking 3 days for this petrol. You come here, you steal this in 2 seconds, I knock your fucking block off, bliat. Suka. Get out of the fucking way.
Вот так живем в наше время.
Oh, he's going back for more.
Страсти
So we've seen a ton of these sparking up recently. Here's another good one. You got a babushka? What, you got a babushka in the middle? Come on, you can't be fighting around the babushkas. Man, you can't, my babushka's here. No fight, man. I knock your block off, but my babushka's right here looking at me. She'll smack me with the paddle when I get home, man. It is about... Who's swinging? Who's swinging? Look at the babushka. Is she wearing a microphone? Is she wearing a DJI mic? Looks like she's all mic'd up. You get the guy in the back celebrating because he sees everybody filming. And like I said, there's a bunch of these coming out, and I'll enjoy every single one of these. Another one. Oh, shit. With the dog in her hand. These people don't give a fuck. And again, these are the only people that swear more than I do. I swear to Christ, the only people in the world that swear more than I do are the Russians, now currently waiting in 3-day lines for petrol. And again, we got more evidence proving that coming up as well. But this lady didn't give a shit. With the puppy in her hand, she's swinging. She's swinging. You're not cutting me off. Bam! Bam! Got him good. Knocked the glasses right off his face, too. Knocked the glasses right off his face. Bam! Oh, it is devolving inside of Russia, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see what else we can get into as far as this is concerned. Here's more footage coming out from that Syzran strike there in the oil refinery, 700 kilometers from Ukraine. Processed, like I said, about 8 million tons of crude per year, about 180,000 barrels per day. So obviously having a substantial effect. Here's more evidence of war crimes coming from the Russian side. These are little bits of what are suspected to be just metal shrapnel that are placed inside of, I believe, these ballistic missiles to, again, cause further destruction, to make it so that civilians in the area, in the surrounding area, are ripped to shreds, and not just by the concussive forces, not just by the explosive forces of these missiles, but also by the debris and the shrapnel, much like we saw with the with Dzhokhar Tsarnaev with the Boston Marathon bombing, putting nails and screws and everything else into the pressure cookers to, again, create the most dramatic effect and the most damaging effect possible to the people in the surrounding area. This says, and this is posted by Marco Sedicoli, and it says the ballistic missiles that also tonight struck Kyiv were equipped with metal shrapnel. This shrapnel is completely useless if launched against buildings. Their sole purpose is to increase the number of dead and wounded here, which, again, I'm sure there are stipulations against, rules against in the Geneva Conventions, the UN charters, and other things that, are supposed to be abided by in times of war as well. Here's more scenes coming from that Syzran strike as well from the Russians in the surrounding area that are dying to get these videos posted on social media. Let's take a look at this one. So again, a very substantial smoke plume you can see in the background. I don't know if he's filming with a fucking telescope or whatnot. I don't know what the whole circle jerk is on that, but you can see the necessary aspects of that, which is the smoke plumes and the fire in the background. I think there was another one on this one too. Yeah, you can see here another still shot of the substantial smoke plume in the background coming from that successful Ukrainian strike. See what else we got. This is another stunning defeat for Russia as the Ukraine's unmanned systems forces continue to break all records with another 14, count them, ladies and gentlemen, 14. Wish I knew how to say 14 in Ukrainian. That would have been sick. Privet mi druzhis, dobry den, dobry den. That's about all I got. But 14 Russian ships destroyed in the past 10 hours, bringing the 6-day total to 90 ships, all documented on video, all geolocated. Ukraine doing incredible things like it's nothing, 10 tankers and 4 ferries. And this has led to, and we'll get to the reporting in a couple of the later videos of the Russians responding to this finally and suspending shipping in at least, some of the corridors that they were getting attacked in as well. But we'll go on to detail what they were saying and what their reactions were to some of these attacks as well. This says today's Ukrainian hits on the Syzran oil refinery highly successful, striking the 3 key processing units with precision. Again, not just going after anything, not just seeing if you can get into the territory, not just seeing if you can get into the air defenses, the air territory, the air space of the oil refinery, but specifically knowing exactly what targets to go for, not only knowing what targets to go for, but being able to get to those targets, okay? That shows power. That shows control. That shows lack of air defenses to be able to mitigate these damages, something that we've continued to see time and time again. More coming from that. This is history continues to be made in the Azov and the Black Seas, with 90 Russian ships now destroyed or immobilized over the course of one 6-day period. Let's see here. I think there's some evidence, and we'll go through these videos real quick. You can see a ship burning in the background. We'll go on to the next one, which is just a conglomerate of different Russian tankers that have been hit. Again, all videoed, all geolocated, all confirmed. Not anything that can be denied or propagandized by the Russians, which is why, again, they're having such a hard time with this, why they're having and feeling so much pressure placed upon them because of these missions undertaken by the Ukrainians. And not only this, but obviously the oil refineries that continue to be hammered. Again, let's see here. This is more evidence suggesting that the only people in the world that swear more than Boston Brian are the Russians that are currently stuck in 3- and 4-day lines trying to get petrol. This is another one of them. I don't know if this is from Crimea or somewhere in Russia itself, but already haven't even heard a word. We already got 2 fucks on the screen. You know, fuck, bliat, fuck, even fuck, Friday, fuck. Like every other word's fuck for these idiots. And again, for somebody that swears a lot, you know, it's just it's kind of remarkable.
Вот знаете, блядь, пятница вечер, блядь. Пятница, блядь, вечер. Я должна прийти домой, блядь.
That's 7 fucks. That is 7 fucks in 7 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that is an achievement for an Irish Mick, right, from fucking South Boston. I don't think that I could swear and say 7 fucks in 7 seconds. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible. But the Russians are pissed off enough right now because they can't get petrol. And I don't think, and as you know, as jokingly as we're taking this matter in the crying videos that we've now seen from these idiots that have perpetrated this war and thought they could get away with it and they weren't going to feel the pain from this but we're only a matter of time away before we're starting to see people in Crimea, people in different areas of occupied Ukraine and inside of Russia too, just deserting their vehicles, whether it be on the Kerch Bridge, whether it be in other aspects and other areas geographically that are being hammered right now. Like we're really close to starting to see these Russians just leave their vehicles, right? Make the trek. What is it? 10 miles across the Kerch Bridge, something like that. 10 to 12 miles. Like we're eerily close to starting to see that happen. And again, maybe not on a very wide scale just yet, but I'm sure these videos are not going to be long before they're popping up of people just abandoning their vehicles altogether because they have absolutely no petrol to gain. They can't drive to a gas station. They can't. There's just nothing for them, basically. But let me throw this back on the screen and we can count the fucks here.
Радостная, должна, блядь, прийти домой радостная, что я... Откуда взять энергию, если ты понимаешь, что ты, блядь, живешь нахуй в минус? Не в маленький минус. Потому что ебаное, блядь, поднятие комиссии Валбериса, поднятие цен, блядь, сразу минус, блядь, прибыли, блядь, настолько, что ты, блядь, нихуя не то, что ты себе, блядь, ты ничего, блядь, не можешь. И, блядь, ты вообще нихуя не можешь, твоя жизнь от тебя вообще не зависит.
This might be a world record for Bliats. I'm not sure. I don't know what the standing world record is for Bliats in a 1-minute video, but I think we're on the way here. We gotta be well on the way of the world record for Bliats.
Ты приходишь и думаешь, блядь, как, сука, выжить в этом мире?
Как, сука, блядь? That was a holy shit.
Блядь, я от ужаса, блядь, я говорю даже маме, я, блядь, на панель, наверное, пойду, я не знаю.
I will probably become a hooker. That's what she just said. She's got no other option. She said, I'll probably become a hooker.
Я от ужаса, блядь,
I'm terrified. Fuck. I even tell my
я говорю
mom,
даже маме.
I will probably become a hooker. Sorry. What do you expect from me? What the fuck do you expect from me? After war crime, after war crime, after war crime, after civilian infrastructure, after civilian infrastructure, after civilian infrastructure being hit, after the mass kidnapping of thousands, tens of thousands of Ukrainian children to send them back to Russia, you expect me to feel some fucking sympathy, some empathy, some compassion for these people? You got another thing coming. Because you came to the wrong channel to find that. We're going to sit here and we're going to laugh in their pain and suffering as we should. All of these videos, every single goddamn one of them. So let's see what else we got. Here's another one. Price of gasoline in Russia-occupied Crimea from regular service stations has now hit $5 per liter, which is the equivalent of $19 per gallon in the United States. Black market prices are considerably higher. So let's see what we can get into with this one. $19 a gallon is fucking wild, ladies and gentlemen, especially as we continue to reiterate the fact that Russia is just a big gas station posing as a country, right? So the fact that they're now paying these exorbitant prices should absolutely detail and drive home just how effective these Ukrainian strikes have been and this, I don't know what you call it, this active mission that the Ukrainians have been on to hurt them in this specific category, in this specific area, is being right now. So check this out again. $19 per gallon.
По 380 рублей. Херня какая-то. Я просто ради интереса заехал на заправку на эту в Мирном, заправился. У меня было там 2700, и я заправил почти 7 литров топлива в бак. По 380 рублей, ребят. Это 380 рублей. Это не шутка. Реально заплатил деньги. И, кстати, только наличку берут, карточки не рассчитываются. Я не знаю, черный нал у них там или еще какая-то ерунда. С одной стороны, это...
So somewhere in there, he's talking about the price of the price of the petrol. I assure you. Let's see here if there was another one from the Telegram. It's not translated though. So, but I'm assuming they're talking about the exorbitant prices of gas. Let's see if they have one here. Nope, that's not helping me either. But I'm gonna take Jay and Key's word for on that one. Usually pretty good as far as the translations are concerned. See if there was anything else. It says after Ukraine's 6-day blitz on Russian shipping, marine traffic on the Sea of Azov has ceased to exist. Remaining ships are now all hiding on the Don Canal with no chance to leave. A massive economic blow to Russia. Only with Ukraine's permission can Russian shipping ever again appear on the Azov. So again, this is just showing you how, and I believe it's this area we're detailing right here. As far as some of the suspensions from the Russian shipping, if I'm not mistaken. But let's see here if we can go on. I do have a couple other videos that are detailing this exact thing. It was it Ukraine Matters or was it this one? I forget at this point in time. All right, let's take a look at this Ukraine Matters. So there's Georgie from Ukraine Matters. If this wasn't the exact one I was talking about, we have a couple other ones we could dive into as well. So just detailing, again, the ongoing pressures being put upon Russia in one way or another. Was it, maybe it was this one? We'll do the professor one because I think he's talking about the ships. My apologies. I know I'm going back and forth in my head. All right, we'll just go through a couple minutes of this because I think, like you said, he's detailing more of these ships being struck and detailing a little bit more of the Russian response to it. And then we'll go on to Georgie from Ukraine Matters in the other videos that I have as well. So Slava Ukraine, Heroyam Slava. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. My name is Brian. This is the Blunt Politics Podcast, and that is the best chat and community on the face of the fucking planet, and you're definitely not going to want to miss being a part and affiliated with this community. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like it, and share the show out if you can. That would be fantastic. All right, Professor Gertis here detailing another big night for Ukraine, another 14 or 15 ships totaling, I think, 91 total ships. As you can see, he has corrected. He had originally put 14 and 90, upped it to 15 and 91. So apparently there's another ship that has been struck. Let's see what we can get into.
It's Sunday, June 12th, 2026. I was surprised again when I saw the number of ships, and I did my thumbnail a little differently because somebody said when I had the 28 yesterday, somebody said that, I thought that was in total. No, it was 14 more ships, 90 in total. And then as I was working on this, it went up to 15 to make it 91. And I'm not making that up. While I was creating it, I had already created a thumbnail as I was going through like the material. Yeah, quite a day. Okay, so overnight strikes. Let's start here. And this is what I saw last night. And so this is a drone bomber putting this out here, a satellite image of the Kerch Strait taken during the daytime on July 11th. At the time the image was captured, only 10 vessels remained in the area. I figured they're all getting out of Dodge. I mean, why wouldn't they get out of Dodge? 4 vessels had been struck. 3 of them were still showing visible signs of smoke. 6 vessels remained in unknown condition. So I saw that and I thought, okay, I won't be doing another headline like this 28 or something like that. And then I saw a drone bomber's map for later that night because that comes out around midnight every night. And so here, 300 drones reported. And where are the 300 drones? And then I'm like, like they're still going after it. Like, look at that. Look at the majority of them going right into the Sea of Azov. Okay. Another 14 ships. This is what I saw first thing when I got up this morning. Another 14 ships destroyed in the past 10 hours, bringing the 6-day total to 90 ships, all documented on video. And then we see this. USF drones hit 14 Russian Shadow Fleet vessels overnight on July 12th, 10 tankers, 4 ferries. Over the week of July 6th through 12th, that brings it up to 90. If you're just watching this, and I sped it up into twice speed so that you can see it, I mean, it's hit after hit after hit. Where are they hitting? They're not trying to sink it. They're trying to disable it. They're hitting the engine room. They're trying to just keep them from doing what they're doing. Now, I guess they'll be towed back to somewhere, and then when they're towed back, are they going to hit them there? I mean, it's an interesting question to see what's going to happen. But it was just hit after hit after hit after hit.
Well, even
Okay.
then, it takes away from the workforce necessary, the money necessary to try to repair the ships. If that's what they're going to try to do, obviously, if they can't be repaired, they're going to have to put more ships and purchase more ships or build more ships if they even have the ability to do so. So, a lot of ways in which this is effective for the Ukrainians. Obviously, not being able to get the resupply the fuel and the oil to Crimea or wherever these ships were, intended to be going, and then obviously the downstream effects of that, as well as far as the money, the workforce that Russia is going to have to expend trying to either replace these, fix these, or come up with some other different resource in which will help them try to mitigate the damages seen here by the Russians. I'm going to throw this one on real quick. We'll kind of bounce back and forth here between these videos. This is from Georgie, Ukraine Matters, and this is Russia's desperation, why on the new mobilization won't save them. And I think one of these videos, I'm sure, again, I pull up so many videos and we look through so much stuff every morning before the shows that it's really tough for me to remember a lot of the times which video included what. But I do believe one of these videos includes the Russian response in suspending shipping in these areas, in which these tankers are being attacked. But let's see what we can get into here. I'm going to speed this up just a touch. Maybe we can get through a couple more seconds of these videos than originally. Let's see what this one is.
Russian warboat has taken a hit against a big Ukrainian iceberg, and now there is water flowing into the compartments. This has been the worst month for Russian war operations in Ukraine so far. Every day it is becoming more and more obvious that whatever Russian goals in Ukraine were or still are, Russia is not approaching them in any kind of sensible manner. Arguably, they're not being approached at all. This is demonstrated by Ukraine taking out over 90% of the Russian gasoline production capabilities all across the country, or Ukrainian drone crews taking out 75 oil tankers in the Sea of Azov in the last...
Gotta correct, and I'm sure he did this video before the other 14 or 15 were hit, but we're up to about 90 or 91 again in the last, I believe, 5 or 6 days alone. So again, the hits just keep on coming for the Russians in this area.
5 days with the drone strikes. All of those very successful operations in their own manner, but as a systematic approach, this is truly painting a very grim picture for Russia. Hey there, Georgie here with Ukraine Matters. I still remember the time on this channel when you and I talked about the outlook for the Russian invasion into Ukraine. And I was telling you that it's not looking good for Russia, that Russia has certain strengths, but they were seemingly losing the moment, and Ukraine was slowly but surely changing the dynamic. In the comment section down below. We're going to be progressing by the points from the lighter ones to the heavy hitters as we go along. So the absolute bangers will be at the end of the video. Make sure to stay tuned. And the first one is that Russia has actually tried doing mobilization already. We saw the consequences of it, and it was tied to a very strong political and economic costs for the Russian government. Putin is building his whole narrative on the idea that there is absolute unity within the Russian society in support of the war. Russia is trying to build this picture that everyone should be supporting the Russian aggression. Unfortunately, that picture isn't really...
And I don't think it could be coming at a worse time for the Russians or the worst time for the Kremlin and Vladimir Putin in particular, as far as the way in which this war has come to the doorstep of the Russian citizens right now. It's not a good time to be saying that things are on the up and up, and now is the time to get your support behind the Russian military, when now is the time that the Russian citizens are feeling the most amounts of pressure, the biggest pinch, can't get petrol, seeing drones and bombs and missiles flying over their fucking territories on a nightly basis, on a daily basis, getting struck 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 kilometers from the front lines. Like, I don't think it's really the time necessarily to be asking the Russian citizens to now all of a sudden be picking themselves up by the bootstraps. I think that was kind of earlier. If it was going to happen, it would have been much earlier in this war as well. But let me see. I could have sworn. Let me see. I'm going to pull this up. Russia, because I don't want to suspends tanker Dawn. Let me see what that pulls up. Bear with me just a second. Yeah, let me just throw this on the screen just so I can get this general piece of news out there for you guys. I knew I have it pulled up in one of these videos, but just in case I don't get around to it, I don't see it. It says Russia suspended commercial shipping through the Don Azov Canal and the Kerch Strait following the massive Ukrainian drone campaign that struck numerous Russian vessels, heavily targeted Moscow sanctioned oil fleet and oil tankers. That was reported by The Guardian here. See if I can throw this on the screen. Ukraine drone strikes forces. Nope. Forced Russia to suspend shipping in the Sea of Azov. Vital maritime corridor closes after 90 vessels, including Shadow Fleet oil tankers, are attacked in under a week. And, of course, we can, again, go through all of the video associated with that to confirm all of these strikes. It says Ukraine's drone forces chief Robert Brovdy, also known as Robert Magyar, said on Sunday that his units had hit 10 tankers and 4 ferries overnight, as well as a major oil refinery in the city of Syzran. There have been several strikes at electricity substations in occupied Crimea, he added. The technological humiliation of Russian empire continues. It will fall because of Crimea, Brovdy wrote on social media. He said Moscow's Shadow Fleet was transport sanctioned oil products around the world was noticeably shrinking and could no longer use the Kerch Strait connecting the Sea of Azov with the Black Sea. And again, just to sure if anybody's not aware, let's see if I can throw this on. We'll go down here and throw this on your screen real quick, just in case anybody's wondering. Obviously, here's the Black Sea. As you can see, we'll go to the Sea of Azov. Here's the Kerch Strait. This is the famous Kerch Bridge, as has been talked about so much. And I'm just curious, what is it? Is it about, I think it's about 10 or 12 miles from tip to tip here, if I'm not mistaken. Is it going to let me try this? So let me try this from right here. Add points. We'll go to right here, add points. Yeah, roughly 10 or so miles. Roughly 10 or so miles in between, the territories there between and taken up by the Kerch Bridge. So I don't think it's going to be long, ladies and gentlemen, before we start seeing, if we haven't already, Russians, in Crimea, leaving their vehicles and just totally abandoning the vehicles on the side of the road and just making the trek back over to the other side of the Kerch Bridge there, because it's coming to that point. It's coming to that point, especially in Crimea, especially as the Ukrainians continue to see more and more success in stopping these tankers that are used to get whatever vital supplies and gas and oil that they need to sustain on Crimea. But yeah, this is the area in question, if you will. I think this is the Don Strait, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they name it. Do they have the name in this one? But I believe this is the strait in which that the Russians had suspended shipping in because of the amount of activity, Ukrainian activity, if I'm not mistaken. But let's see if we can jump back into that other video as well. I have this one too, because let's see if there's any more footage to come out. I know I had so much pulled up, so much is going on. It's tough to try to fend through at all, try to get you guys up to speed and up to date on everything that's been going on. But let's see. This is the Sun video, Ukraine at war. This is one of those that is just, it's got no commentary on it. So we'll just see if there's any more footage or video or anything coming from these strikes that we could take a look at. Let's see. This is Ukraine strikes one of Russia's largest oil refinery, in a major drone attack. The Ukrainian Defense Forces struck the Syzran oil refinery in Russia's Samara region. It looks like it was definitely multiple strikes, as you can see here from the different plumes of smoke that were going up. Hard to believe that the fire just rapidly spread that quickly while people were taking video. So obviously multiple successful strikes there by the Ukrainians on this oil refinery. Footage shows a Ukrainian FP-1 attack drone slamming into one of the refinery smokestack. See it here. The smokestack. Military said the Syzran refinery is one of the largest, as we talked about, capacity of about 8.5 million tons of oil a year. If there's anything else, it produces fuel to supply the Russian armed forces, as we've talked about. Ukrainian forces launched another major overnight maritime strike in the Sea of Azov, targeting 10 oil and fuel tankers. So again, this footage in this video making its way around social media pretty heavily, as posted by the Unmanned Systems Forces, Robert Brovey himself, as they continue to detail these effective strikes. But all right, what else were we getting into as far as this one? I think we can go back into the professor video and detail some of these other effective strikes as well. There was some on the weekly recap from Magyar. There was some on the SK-1 ferry as that burned. There was some on the Russian watches, the Shadow Fleet burns as well. So let's continue here. I'll get you guys out of here after this one.
Okay, now, oil refinery hit, 10 tankers, 4 ferries, and other military targets. We'll talk about some of the other military targets, including Syzran, in just a moment. Then, as I'm going through this, I'm going, okay, I already got the thumbnail created over here, and I'm working at it, and I have to revise it to 15 because then I see this 15, and my first thought was, okay, Curtis, hurry up and finish this thing so that it doesn't.
This is a post by the Ukrainian Defense Forces as reports on the SBS group. 819 targets that were hit, 289 including destroyed. And if you go down here, you can see what he's talking about as far as the fleet. So you can see the 15 column. So that's why he had to up the 14 to the 15. And I'm sure even somewhere in here he goes after and talks about the recent numbers as far as the 24 hours and what they were taking out in the Russian side. I'm sure it's somewhere in here. Yeah, right here. So let's see here. There's another 1,320 as far as Russian personnel that were eliminated from the battlefield, either dead or severely wounded, bringing the total up to 1,419,090. Well, you could chalk up another 4 Russian tanks in a 24-hour period. You could chalk up another 6 armored fighting vehicles, bringing the total up to 24,928 armored fighting vehicles that have been eliminated from the battlefield by the Ukrainians. Just numbers that don't really make sense anymore. These are just astronomical numbers. Artillery systems, another 53 that have been eliminated in a 24-hour period, nonetheless, bringing that total up to 45,807 during the entirety of this war, which is just insane. Adding these, adding the values up just in general of the equipment lost is astronomical. It's ridiculous. Now, MLRSs, another 4 in a 24-hour period that were taken out, bringing that total up to 1,928. And again, putting the price tag on each individual one of those together, times it by nearly 2,000, and you can see what type of numbers that we're talking about here. There were another 2,034 drones or UAVs that were taken out, bringing that total up to 403,959. Just again, numbers that boggle the mind. Unmanned ground vehicles, another 15 that were taken out in a 24-hour period, and that brings the total up to 1,883. And then what do we got here? Another 2 cruise missiles, another 428 vehicles and fuel tanks, showing their concerted effort to go after the resupply, bringing that total up to 119,038 different vehicles and fuel tanks. It's just insane. And then pieces of special equipment there at another 5, bringing that total up to about 4,407 in a 24-hour period to see, again, nearly 1,500 soldiers. And it's fluctuated depending on the levels of the attacks there by the Russians and how much they're pushing on the front, and then obviously the activities there and what the Ukrainians are focusing on as well. But been pretty steady, been pretty consistent above 1,000 for quite some time now. So to see 1,419,090 eliminated personnel is just boggles the mind to see how anybody consider themselves the victorious military in that, or think that they could ultimately pull out these goals. Again, I reiterate that their originally stated goal was Kyiv in 72 hours or thereabouts. And to see where we are now as far as the map and where the Russians are and what they continue to try to propagandize and say that they've taken, it's a huge discrepancy. It's a huge difference. All right, let's go on here. And like I said, I'll get you guys out here in a couple minutes. This is just more on the successful night that the Ukrainians had in the last 24 hours. It says Ukrainian attack drones successfully hit the large Russian Kerch Strait vehicle, a ferry known as SKS-1 overnight, setting the vessel ablaze while berthed pierside in the Kerch seaport.
Our large Russian Kerch Strait vehicle ferry, SK-1 overnight, setting the vessel ablaze while berthed pierside in the Kerch seaport. This ferry is not nothing. Look at the size of this thing. Okay. And so here's where it was struck. And
so, I mean, a ship like that could be used for any number of things to help supply the military and what they're trying to perpetrate down there in Crimea. So whether it's just, straight aid or food or supplies, ammunition, weaponry, whatever it may be, These types of ships are being consistently used, or were at least being consistently used by the Russians to try to resupply these different vital areas. So clearly justifiable military targets by the Ukrainians, and they have made them pay the price as far as the Russians are concerned for using these type of vessels.
Then look at the size of this thing. Okay. Yeah. And so here's where it was struck. And so again, I think when they go back to their ports, maybe there's going to be
You can see the port right here. I mean, I love doing this for you guys, so we could probably go to the port. Not sure exactly which one it was struck in, but I mean, you can see these different ports. Here's the Kerch area, as you can see, not very far away in proximity from the Kerch Bridge, which you're looking at here. But I'm sure as more reporting, you might even detail exactly which port it was located in. But you can see these different, these little ships that are lined up here as different defensive barriers, different defensive structures put in there by the Russians to try to help boost the defenses of the Kerch Bridge, knowing that that's going to be a target coming up. You can see this one actually traversing there as this satellite photo was taken with a smaller boat behind it. Looks to be that might even be the ferry right there, to tell you the truth, that we were just looking at. That might even be the ferry right there that we were just looking at. Tough to tell, obviously, but in and around this area is where we're talking about this vehicle, this vessel was struck, and I'm sure in one of these surrounding ports here. There's the port of Kerch, so I'm sure somewhere in this general vicinity is where we're speaking about. See if we could see any evidence. Don't know. That looks like a wreckage right there. That looks like some wreckage. I don't know what that's from exactly, but that definitely looks like a wrecked vessel. But all right, let's see if I just want to show you exactly where we were talking about as far as that was concerned. Let's go back to the professor video. It says that on the night of July 12th, operators of the 413th USF Raid Regiment struck 3 ferries located in the port waters in the ferry crossing area of Kerch. Since 2022, these ferries have served a crucial backup as a Kerch Bridge. Until recently, they were used in particular to transport fuel tankers to transport fuel tankers to the peninsula.
Strikes there as well. On the night of July 12th, operators have struck through these 3 ferries. These ferries have served as crucial backup to the Kerch Bridge. And so it's going to get increasingly more difficult. Like if you're a Russian in Crimea and you're not making plans or in the queue right now to get out, I just don't know what you're thinking.
And that's exactly what I'm saying, right? How long are you going to be sitting in that queue waiting for no fuel, waiting for nothing that's going to come, only to see more and more Ukrainian drones, missiles, and bombs flying into the territory that you're now sitting there waiting in? Again, that's why I'm suspecting at a point sometime recently, you're going to start seeing the abandonment of a lot of these vehicles. You're going to start seeing the abandonment of a lot of the homes that were occupied by these Russians or used by these Russians down in Crimea to get themselves out of harm's way, where the people that haven't left already are stupidly sticking around. But all right. Let's get into thanking some people, as I always do at the end of every single show. I want to utilize the most people we have here as possible to make sure everybody gets the recognition and the appreciation they deserve. Again, up here in the corner is a Venmo QR code. It is the quickest and easiest way to send your support to this channel. All we ask for is $1 or $2. Anything more than that is totally 100% up to you and your financial capabilities. If you think we're deserving of more, I'm not going to stand in your way. But again, I'm not trying to sit here and suck everybody dry. $1 or $2 from people in the chat here would go a very substantial distance in helping grow this platform. So thank you very much to everybody utilizing that. Thank you to people like Allie who utilize the Cash App and the PayPal, which is also out there. You can just check out and look up Blunt Politics of Boston Brian. It should pull those things up. And then thank you to the people donating in the chat. As always, people going to the Patreon at patreon.com/Boston Brian. Fantastic tiers over there that give you some great perks and stuff. You can get access to the discount codes for the merch shop. We also have a $5 summer sale going on right now at bostonbrian.com. You can go there and click the Blunt Politics merch shop link, and then you can utilize that $5 off the t-shirts on there. Just another way in which you can help support this channel. All Ukraine stuff that is sold, anything related to Ukraine that is sold on the website, the proceeds get donated to United 24. So we're always trying to do something to help boost up these different fundraisers and things that we're passionate about. So what do you say we get into the Venmo, see if anybody was nice enough to send over $1 or $2 that they had hiding between the couch cushions today. Let's see here. Thank you guys so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. So first up today is Kirsten. Thank you so much, Kirsten P, for the $20 on Venmo for the trip to Ukraine. Oh, thank you so much, Kirsten. Very, very much appreciate that for everything. Everybody being so generous and supportive of this mission. You guys made this possible to begin with. So to see your continued support really means the world to me. So thank you so much to Kirsten again. Thank you so much to Roger and Karen. Roger and Karen says, I don't care. I love it. You want another one? Yeah, this is my general sentiment as to the Lindsey Graham situation. In case you're just joining us, just in case, I'm just saying. I can't say it; they said it. It's a song. I didn't say it; they said it. But Roger, Karen, thank you so much for your kind contribution on Venmo. Thank you so much to Monica S on Venmo as well. $10 for the Ukraine trip and a lobster. Thank you so goddamn much. I really do appreciate that. That will be very. What should I say? I don't know what I'm trying to say, actually. I'll utilize that in the best way possible for my Ukraine trip. That's what I was trying to get out, Monica. My apologies. Thank you so much for the 10, Monica S on Venmo. Let's see who else we got. Bry Guy, let's go. Brian H, I appreciate you, my friend. Says, Slava Ukraini. Good Sunday morning. Have a great day and beginning of the week. You as well. Thank you so much for your kind words, Bry. I appreciate everything you do and the support you show for this channel. Really means a lot. It does. And then thank you for everybody over the last couple days. Allison M, thank you to Suzanne M2M in the chat for your sizable and substantial contribution. Thank you to Brian H again from the other day. Thank you to Marty for your sizable and substantial contribution towards this trip. Thank you to Nancy for everything that you do. Jeff in the chat. Gin Up the Base in the chat. Dame Dog in the chat. W's to all you guys for everything that you do. Yakov, thank you so goddamn much, brother. Hope your back gets well soon. Thank you so much for your support and everything you do there in the chat. What do you say we get into thanking some people who were kind enough to get us to our goal and well past it today, I might add, on on YouTube here. First up today is Yakov, Speak of the Devil. Much appreciated to you and the rest of the Barnacles who says we aren't going anywhere. Let's fucking go. Right back at you, Yakov. Thank you so much for everything, dude. And let us know if we could do anything to help you, remain more comfortable, get through your excruciating times. I'm sure you're still feeling with your back. So appreciate you for joining us. Thank you so much. Thank you to Laurie as well. Barnacle reporting for duty. Happy birthday, Mama Lobster. Oh, thank you, Laurie. And again, big shout out to Mom. I hope you had a wonderful dinner. Hope you had a wonderful lunch, whatever you want to call it. I had a great time. It was great to see you. And thank you so much for everything that you've done for not only me, brother and sister and everybody else in this family. It means a lot. And again, W's out to you guys for reaching out to Mom and saying happy birthdays there in the chat. So thank you, Laurie, very, very much. Very valued member of the community, as is everybody here. So thank you to Brian H. Happy birthday, Bry's mom. Go, Mom. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are fantastic. Thank you, Laurie. Thank you, Bry. Thank you, Dame, as well. Let's fucking go. Lobsters rock. Let's go, brother. One of my main purchases of Boston Brian merch, and I got to thank you for that, along with all of the other people that are nice enough, generous enough, and supportive enough to head over to bostonbrian.com. Check out the link to the merch shop. Check out all of the great opposition, resistance merch, human rights merch. Doesn't have to do anything with blunt politics if you don't want it to do, or say Boston Brian or anything pretentious like that. Some great designs on there. So thank you, Dame, for everything that you do for this channel. Thank you to Carol for the 5 gifted memberships. Shout out to you, Carol. W's in the chat to everybody making this show possible. Really do appreciate that. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Appreciate you for being here as long as you are. Thank you to Stogmas for the $2. Very much appreciated. Always great seeing you here. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, a great weekend, and a great week coming up. And I hope everybody sticks around again for all of the coverage of the trip as we leave halfway through this week. Thank you to Soka Deb for being a member for 13 months. Says Brian, thanks for keeping me company while I clean and do my chores. Let's fucking go. Hashtag Team Democracy. Right there with you, Deb. Thank you so much for listening in the background. Anybody else as well, whether you're watching live. I know a lot of people don't have the time or the energy or the resources necessary to watch a whole 2-hour live stream. So if you catch this later on and you catch it in bits and pieces, or you listen in the background, I love you. I appreciate you. I respect the shit out of you for checking out this channel, and I can't thank you enough. So, Deb, much appreciated. Hope you have a great weekend as well as the rest of everybody. Thank you to Slacks. What's up, Slacks? You fucking homo. Appreciate you, dude. He says, love to you, brother. Love to all my fellow Bryantologists. Hey, Oval Office, Orangutan. Did you know that war on rhymes with moron? No. Did you know war on rhymes with moron? Wait, what? War on rhymes with more. Oh, okay, I got you. I read it the first time right. I don't know why it's so confusing to me the second time, because the first time it made total sense. But I do appreciate it. Dump and the MAGA loyalists are not doing so good. I say that's putting it mildly, Slacks. But thank you so much for your $20 contribution. Great to see you, my friend. Hope everything is well. Hope you have a great weekend. Thank you for being another valued member of this community here, as is Rocks. Let's fucking go. One of our valued mods here, always contributing. Thank you so much. On the move. Let's fucking go and hit the goal. Thank you so much to Rocks for getting us towards that goal. Very much appreciated. Thank you, JD, for the preemptive profanity bonus. I don't know. We're going to have to start sending that. No, we're not going to. I'm facetious. I'm being facetious, of course, but I'm starting to get outplayed here. I'm starting to get outswore by these Russians. I'm starting to get a little offended that I can't throw out the F-bombs like they can at this point in time. But they have all the reasons to do so, right? I'm not sitting in a line for 3 days trying to get petrol. I can tell you that much. So, comes with the territory. But thank you so much, JD, for everything you do for this channel. Very, 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 very much appreciated. Love seeing you here. Hope you have a great weekend as well. Thank you to No Money G. I love this crew and this community is the best ever. I love seeing all of the familiar names, all the same names in the chat. As much as I love seeing new members of the community as well, it really means something to have people continuously come back. You must be doing something right in that category as well. So thank you, No Money G, and everybody else. It says, hey, B, Kaylin Robinson put out a great video yesterday on Ireland feeding a Russian war machine. Def worth the watch if you have time. I did check that out. And I gave him credit on the last show I did, I think, as to the movement that has been seen from his investigations into the Illumina. There was the great video I think we watched on this channel, if I'm not mistaken, about the investigative reporting that he was doing into the Illumina plant there that was in Ireland that continued to go feed the Russian war effort, while the councilmen and the people and the politicians in the area were doing absolutely nothing about it when it was happening right under their noses. So I do believe there was actually some movement and investigations coming from that. So it was great to see. But yeah, I did check out the latest. We'll see if we can play that on the next show. Actually, that might be a good lead into my trip to Estonia and ultimately into Ukraine. So appreciate you, No Money G. Thank you so much. Have a great Sunday. Have a great rest of your weekend and great week as well. Thank you, Petrazi. Great to see you, Petrazi. Love seeing you guys here. I would love to see the footage of your trip to Europe. Let's fucking go. I'm going to do as much as I possibly can, right? I want to be able to do as much while I'm there. But again, OPSEC in mind, if it's necessary to kind of show everybody when I get back, then that's something that I'll have to do. Again, I don't want to under-promise and under-deliver or over-promise and under-deliver, but, I obviously OPSEC and people's safety and, the area that we're going into kind of begs for the security and the safety taken in mind, right? So, Petrazi, thank you so much, and I'll do everything I possibly do. I'll ask all the questions I possibly can to make sure that you guys are along for the ride. I'm sure, if there's time during the, at night when we're back in the hotel or whatever, I don't think that should be a problem as long as I don't give out any, specific locations or anything like that. But again, I'll be able to get more answers for you as, I get more involved with the group and get closer to the trip as well. So thank you, Petrazi. Thank you to Marcus. Let's go, Marcus. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for the $10 contribution. He says, thanks for all that you do. No, Marcus, thank you for all that you do. Again, I'd just be sitting here like a lunatic talking to a camera, talking to a microphone with nobody listening if it weren't for you guys in the chat. So I owe everything I possibly can give up and muster to you guys in the chat. Marcus, you being one of them, and everybody else that watches and shares and likes and subscribes and buys merch and all of the things to support this channel. It's all on you guys, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. So, Marcus, much appreciated. Have a great weekend, my friend. Thank you to Greg, Tots, and Pierce for Lindsey. Exactly. That's about all I got for him because there's nothing else coming out. No tears whatsoever coming out, I can assure you. Thank you, Greg, for being a member for 26 months. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Hope you have a good week. Thank you for being here, my friend. I smoke and I know things. What's going on? Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for the $2 contribution. Now I'm waiting for Ding Dong to Mitch. I'm telling you, everybody was so shocked. I wish I had video, like fucking Ring door cam video from everybody waking up this morning doing this. Like, you know what I mean? In the bed, and you're reading like kind of the first tweets or posts, and you're like, oh, Congressman dead. You're like, oh, Mitch McConnell, finally. And then you read, you did like the double take when you saw the name. That would be entertaining footage right there. But thank you so much, I Smoke and I Know Things. Thank you for the $2 contribution. Very much appreciated. What's going on? Thank you, Chaco. What's going on, Chaco B? Appreciate that. Thank you for the $10. Always appreciate seeing new faces and new names in the chat. Love seeing everybody that's back here time and time again as well. So all of you guys come together to build up this amazing community that we got here. So Chaco B, thank you so much. Hope you have a great weekend. Thank you. Be kind. What's it say? Be kind, have hope. Much appreciated. Let's go. I feel like I have to read that every time, and my apologies. I should have that down pat by now. It says, be safe and come home to Massachusetts from Natick. Absolutely be kind. I surely will. I am going to do everything I possibly can to take the appropriate precautions, as is the group that we'll be going with. Everybody takes this seriously. Everybody knows the dangers involved, and the necessity of the mission involved. So again, we'll be doing everything we possibly can to come home safe and sound and bring you guys the news and the highlights and the lowlights and whatever else takes place and anything that we need to report on from this, what the reality on the ground looks like, what the people in Ukraine are putting up with night after night after night, the civilian infrastructure being targeted by the Russians. Anything I possibly can to shed light on the situation, I will be sure to do and come home safe. So thank you, be kind and have hope. Much appreciated for the $5 contribution. Thank you to David Weiss, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a great week. Thank you to David Weiss for the $2 contribution. I don't care either, says David Weiss, which is why we're all in this community together. All like-minded individuals, all with the same goals in mind, and all not giving a fuck about that. We're done giving a fuck. We're done playing by the rules. We're done not fighting fire with fire. We're done going high when they go low. If they want to fucking get in the mud, I'll get muddy, okay? They want to play in the puddle, I'll dig a fucking trench under that puddle, okay? That's where we're at right now. So thank you, Nola. Thank you to David. Much appreciated for the $5 contribution, and everybody else that's been, kind enough to throw in a contribution to the channel and get us towards this goal, and well over, I might add. So thank you, Nola. Thank you, Colleen. Saw a video by Occupy Democrats saying Mitch was on ice in Lindsey's apartment. Just one of many conspiracy theories. And yeah, they're out there. That's one of the more wild ones that I've heard so far, Colleen, I will stipulate. But yeah, the whole just came back from Ukraine, kind of like putting together his support for Ukraine, the recent announcements of possible sanctions, that speculation I can understand. I really do. There's the book that can be written on that, and the general headlines that could get people in the background to be like, oh yeah, there's smoke there at least. I don't know if there's fire, but there's definitely some smoke, and the timelines would add up. But I continue to reiterate that it should be pretty evidently found, should be pretty easily found if there was some foul play. There's definitely side effects and symptoms and things to look at in a body that's been poisoned. I know there's definitely poisons out there that are harder to detect, but the technology on the other side has progressed just as much. So I have to assume, and I have to be on the side of, we will know if Russia had any involvement. Again, just talking about the different conspiracies that are out there and the different speculatory thoughts that are happening around the social media spaces at this moment in time. But, why this wouldn't have been done years ago, where, again, it's been 10 or so trips to Ukraine for Lindsey Graham. It's clearly obvious who would have the involvement. I don't know if they would get much benefit from it. It would be much more degradential to the Russians, I believe, as far as internationally, geopolitically, if it was found out that, Lindsey Graham had been poisoned, or, the Russians had any involvement. I just don't know what the benefit would be. Right, because Lindsey Graham is in a party of mostly people that don't want to support them. He was that kind of one person that, for whatever reason, monetary value or whatever, was willing to show his support there. But I don't know what huge benefit would come from that. I think they have the president of the United States in their pocket. I just don't know if they'd need to go to those lengths. Not that they haven't before. So again, take this with a grain of salt. I'm sure we'll have more and more as the autopsy, if one is performed, or the medical reports are to come out, if they haven't already. So we'll be trying to keep up to speed on that and all the information coming from there, and see if we can answer and put to bed some of these conspiracy theories, and maybe some information coming out will lend credence to some of these different theories that are going on. Who knows? At this point in time, I wouldn't rule anything out, but I just think it's unlikely, in my opinion, that the Russians would see much benefit out of this, right? Just shutting up another big mouth drunk Republican type of thing. I don't know. I think they'd stand to lose more than they would gain if it was found out inevitably that they had something to do with it. But like I said, just my opinions, and we'll keep you guys up to speed and up to date on anything released as far as that is concerned. And I'll correct the record if I'm wrong. Happy to do so. But thank you, Colleen, for the $10 contribution. Thank you, PB Lou. Let's go. I feel like that's a name I haven't seen in a while. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. But thank you so much, Lou, for being back in the chat. Very much appreciated. Always love seeing the names and the faces in the chat. Obviously, as you guys are being extremely generous and contributing to our goal here. Thank you for the $5 super sticker. And that is a very colorful bird. Did you take that picture? I love photography. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So thank you to PB. Much appreciated for the 5. Thank you to Carol for the $10 contribution. Sometimes one has to smile when this kind of things happens. My non-condolences to South Carolina. And yeah, it's like I said, like, would you have, and there's people like Pierce Morgan clutching their pearls online, like, oh, I can't believe the reaction of some of the people on the right and the left. Huh? It's like, step off your fucking soapbox, Pierce, okay? Step out of your penthouse and come down into reality for a second, where a guy that's done more damage to our society than anything that he's ever helped. He's fucking done more warmongering, has more blood on his hands. He's been responsible for the justification and the obfuscation of Donald Trump's every single fucking move for so long. Like, you really are surprised people have bad things to say and that we're not like sitting here in tears because fucking Lindsey Graham had a heart attack? Sorry. I am one of the more emotional humans and one of the more emotional men on the fucking planet. Not easy for me to say, but I will say that. And again, I'm not shy or against having some emotion, empathy, and compassion for people by any stretch of the imagination. Not in this instance. Not in this instance. Just like in 1945, if the announcement went over the wireless that Adolf Hitler just took his life, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's a shame. Wouldn't have done it. Wouldn't have done it now. Wouldn't have done it then. Not going to do it now. So sorry, not sorry. And I just I'm curious. It begs the question. If we all have a bunch of champagne bottles ready for, let's just say, DJT's inevitable removal from this earth through natural causes, what does Lindsey Graham warrant? Like a Dr. McGillicuddy shot, maybe? Right? Like a nip of Fireball, right? If Trump and Netanyahu get their own bottle of champagne. But no, thank you, Carol. I understand. Believe me, I do understand the sentiment, and I'm right there with you. Let's just put it that way. I'm right there with you. But Wes, what's going on, my brother? What's happening, dude? Thank you for the 333. Never a chance to pass Save America in the Senate, right? But that doesn't stop, and you're 100% right. And to build on top of that, that's not stopping or would ever stop Donald Trump for using the worst of the worst situations, the death of somebody in his political party, to try to gain a little favor, to gain a little momentum behind his Save America. Oh, this guy just died, so if you want to honor him, the last thing he said to me in the last phone call he ever made before he dropped dead was how much he wanted to see the Save America Act passed, right? You can see that, like, that scummy fucking Weasley greasy way of using that to their own political benefit. And again, expounding on top of what you said, you're 100% right. As well. So thank you, Wes. Great to see you, my friend. Hope you have a wonderful weekend and a great week. Thank you to DPD. Let's fucking go, you guys. Killing it today, and I love it. Can somebody explain why Governor Whitmer of Michigan has chosen to screw her constituents by vetoing the 6058 bill, and why she is cozying up to Matt Hall, who has ties to Project 2025? She needs to explain herself now. Before I make any comment on that, I'd like to educate myself a little bit further on what the 6058 bill was, and just a little bit more of that information. But, I'm sure there is ample reason for people to be concerned and be demanding answers. So before I comment, thank you so much for the $20 contribution, DBD. As always, very much appreciated for everything you do for this channel. It's awesome seeing you guys come back time and time again for this show. But just before I speak extemporaneously on that, I'd just like to know a little bit more on it. So I hope you can understand that. But thank you, DPD. Hope you have a great Sunday, and hope you have a great week as well. Thank you so much for what you do for this channel. Thank you, Tamra, for the $2 contribution. Thank you so much to Dame for the $2 contribution. Russian profanity bonus. Thank you, brother. It's crazy, dude. I've never seen anything like it. And I've been in a lot of situations where profanity is the thing, Jimmy Two Soups again with the $2. What's going on, brother? Irish watching Gaelic football curse the most. That's true. This is true. Okay. I will give you that. I will give you that. But a close second has to be these women inside of Crimea and different areas in Russia that are, again, pitching tents to wait for petrol, because boy, oh boy, they do not hold it back. They do not hold it back. But thank you so much, Jimmy Two Soups. Appreciate you and the $2 contribution, and some Gaelic football. Try explaining the rules to that to a lot of people. I hope you have a great day, my friend. Thank you, brother. Thank you to Shifty Lincoln as well for the $5. It's too bad Lindsey doesn't have a water bucket nearby so he can turn the lava into obsidian. Oh, shit. You guys crack me up, Shifty Lincoln. Appreciate you, my dude. Thank you for the $5. Thank you for the contribution. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making me smile. Shovel Dead, thank you for the $20. I mean, what can I say? Mo Lobster Sauce, let's go. Much appreciated for everything you do for this channel. Thank you so much for the substantial contributions time and time again. Everybody in the chat, I don't know. I'm running out of words. I always do, to show my gratitude, to show how much you guys, mean to not only this platform, but to me, my ability to fight through all of this insanity and to keep a level head. Like, you guys have me right there, right in the middle. And it's because of you guys that I've not gone crazy yet, I assure you. But thank you, Shovel Dead. Appreciate you. Hope you have a great day and a wonderful week. Thank you to moms. So much love on your upcoming trip, tithing for this week. Thank you so much, moms. I'll be thinking about each and every one of you guys and keeping you up to date and up to speed on the safety of the trip and the progression of the trip as well. So please stick around. Please come along for the ride. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It's free to do so. If you got Amazon Prime, you can subscribe on Twitch too, and it won't cost you a dime to do that. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, Substack, the whole 9 yards. That way you guys don't miss any updates, depending on where I can get them out. You never know what the internet's going to be like there. So, I'll do my absolute best. So thank you, moms. Hope a great Sunday and have a great upcoming week as well. Thank you to Roxanne, being a member for 14 months. Let's go. When you leaving, brother? The middle of the week. So sometime Wednesday, I will no longer be in the United States. So that's about as close as I'll get with OPSEC in mind. But yeah, much appreciated, Roxanne. Thank you so much. And I think we should be able to do the Wednesday early show, if I'm not mistaken, depending on what time I have to leave for the airport. So yeah, we may be able to do the early show. We'll see what happens with that. But I should be able to at least give you guys a send off with the Wednesday early show. So much appreciated, Roxanne, for inquiring. Thank you to Berkeley. Excuse me. Hey, B, I'm heading back from a week of camping in the California Sierras. Had to pull over to make my donation, but you'll be leading me all the way back to Sacramento. Let's go. Appreciate that, Berkeley. Don't fucking be pulling over on the highway on my fucking accord, dude. What are you doing, you psychopath? Stay on that road. It ain't that necessary. It ain't that serious. Hopefully this was like a back road and you pulled over at like a McDonald's and you just pulled over on the fucking shoulder of the highway. As much as I love you, as much as I appreciate it, and as much as I, am grateful for that, just please, nobody be stopping on the shoulder to send in a super chat. Jeez, I know you like it, but I didn't think you'd like it that much. No, Berkeley, I'm joking. I appreciate you. I'm sure you were doing it the safe way. Of course, I'm being facetious. I appreciate you. Hope you have a great week. Hope you had a safe drive back as well, if you're not home already. Brenda, thank you so much for being here and a member for 19 months. Let's fucking go. Safe travels, Brian. Much appreciated, Brenda, thank you so much for everything. I appreciate the kind words. I appreciate everybody wishing me well. It really means a lot. And, I'm going to take all your well wishes with me, I assure you. Fuck it. It's only money. Slava Ukraine. Fucking go, Bri. Be safe. Please use your new gem of information. I sure will. I'm going to try to do everything I possibly can to make sure that everybody's up to speed on the realities of the situation. And thank you so much, Bri, again, for all of your contributions, man. Please, I hope nobody's putting themselves in a financial hole. It's the last thing that I want to see happen. I don't want to see people be burdened with the responsibility of supporting channels like this where you can't. And I'm not saying that anybody is. I just want to reiterate, just make sure it's within your capabilities, okay? I don't want to be taken away from any other aspect of your life. Just want to make sure it's something that, the people that are doing it, it's possible for you to do it. So appreciate you, Bri. Thank you so much. Thank you, Deb, as well. We need Midas Touch to have you be the Ukraine and Eastern European correspondent. Safe travels. Oh boy, we could get into that discussion, but I won't here, Deb. I won't here. But thank you so much for your $10 contribution, and I second that. I absolutely think that would be definitely beneficial for both platforms and a definite boost for Ukraine coverage in general. But anyway, Deb, much appreciated. And then rounding it out today, thank you so much, Tiff. Don't you dare leave us barnacles hanging. Absolutely not, Tiff. Wouldn't think of it. Absolutely couldn't do it. Never. Not in a million years. So all the barnacles, much appreciated. And that is the glorious nickname that we've assigned to all of the people that watch this show from start to finish, that hang around to the very last second of these episodes. We seem to be taking on a real seafood, the seafood symbolism aspect to this whole channel with the lobsters, and obviously being from New England and the Boston area, it fits. I don't eat seafood myself, which I'm sure people are going to find ironic, but yeah, I don't mind it. I appreciate, again, you guys, Barnacles, sticking around to the end of the show. Again, the Bryantologist is always and has been a play on the cult of the, the MAGA cult, the Church of Bryantology and the Bryantologist, in case you're wondering where that came from. If you joined us late, again, that's just us, poking a little fun at the MAGA cult. So much appreciated for everybody taking the time out of the day to be here. Thank you to the mods, everybody. Every single mod that I have, wherever you're modding, however you're modding, you guys are the backbone of this community and make this thing possible. And I can't thank you enough for everything that you've been responsible for and helping the show out with. It's just amazing. Oh, thank you, John. I see you sneaking one in there. Always learning from the chat. Now I have to look up Whitmer 6058. As do I, John, right? So I don't claim to know everything. I don't claim to be, all knowing, and I don't drink with my pinky up like most people on this side of the aisle might do. But yeah, thank you so much, John, for the contribution. And yes, I'm right there with you. Always learning from the chat. As I always say and have said from the beginning of this show, there's always somebody smarter in the chat. So don't be afraid if you do a show like this, if you run a podcast with a live stream, to ask the chat when you're not sure. I do a lot in trying to correct myself and asking the chat to correct me if I do get anything mistaken. So that's just, I hope we do things the right way based upon the way that you guys want it done. I love you. I appreciate you. Stay loud, stay proud, stay aggressive, but keep your head on a swivel out there. Please make sure you stay safe. We're just not pissed off enough in this country. Get the fuck out of your seats. Get into the streets. Thank you, and hit that like button on the way out. My name's Brian. This has been the Blunt Politics Podcast, the little political podcast that could, just trying to sift through the bullshit, the lies, the propaganda of the mainstream media, the Republican Party, and Donald Trump in particular. And if that's something that you want to be affiliated with, the opposition, the research, the people that just don't give a fuck anymore, are willing to do whatever it takes to defeat these fascists in the midterms and in the upcoming general elections, then you found a home for you. You found the correct community. So hit that like button, subscribe, share this out to your friends and your family, your coworkers, whoever you think might be, get some benefit from this, some value from this. And thank you to everybody, again, getting us well past our goal. Thank you to Vinny. I see you in there. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you for being a member for 21 months. Thank you for everybody being a part of the reality. Again, I couldn't said it better myself, Vincent. I really do appreciate you guys being not only based in reality, but here wanting to get the facts and the opinions as we see fit. All of the stories that we find, worthy of coverage and, important enough to spend some time on. So thank you guys so much for everything that you've been supportive of. And I can't wait to, again, represent you in our trip to Eastern Europe and into Ukraine to hand over this vehicle. It's going to be a very, very valuable moment, and I can't wait to share that with you guys. So, all right, hit that like button. My name's Brian. Before I waste too much more of too much more of your weekend, I'll let you guys go. But again, my sentiment in just a few words as to the whole Lindsey Graham situation, just in case this isn't me, YouTube. Once again, this isn't. All right, you guys have a great day. I appreciate you, and I will see you on the next one. I'll see you Tuesday for the Tuesday show. No show tomorrow. We do have the Zoom. So everybody signed up at patreon.com/BostonBrian. Make sure you're looking out for the Zoom link tomorrow and the affiliated tiers that are able to get access to those. And again, if you sign up between now and then, you'll be eligible to the Zoom that you're affiliated with, depending on what tier you sign up for. So don't miss out on that. And thank you, everybody, for supporting this channel. Again, the YouTube memberships just underneath me, the Patreon, the backbone of this community, the ones that continuously help us keep the lights on no matter how many people watch, no matter how many likes we get. You guys are right there helping us keep these lights on. So much appreciated. Love, appreciate, and respect the shit out of every single goddamn one of you. Stay loud, stay proud, stay aggressive. I'm Boston Brian. Appreciate you guys.
Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
Never fight uphill, me boys, never fight uphill. They were fighting uphill. He said, wow, that was a big mistake. He lost his great general. And they were fighting. Never fight uphill, me boys, but it was too late. Yesterday's a hard word for me. For the rest of my life, I have the curse that I have little hands. Little hands. Refer to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. Here's a thought. Grow a sack, fill it with some balls.
There is no way we are going to allow a con artist to take over the conservative movement, and Donald Trump is a con artist. But I can just tell you that a con artist is about to take over the Republican Party and the conservative movement, and we have to put a stop to it.
He says, wrecked him, damn near killed him.
Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
By the Islamic Republic of Japan. JC, POC. It's a new form of vicious violation to our country. For minors, do we love minors? I love minors. The kidney has a very special place in the heart. It's an incredible thing. Oh, get those lights off! Off! They're too bright. Turn them off! You have a group of Venezuelan killers, street gangs, occupying the town with MK-47s. I know that gun very well. I got to know it. What uranium is, right? This thing called nuclear weapons and other things, like lots of things.
Go fuck yourself. Bad news, bad news. Even when it's good news, it's bad news.
Call them dumps, big, massive dumps.
Brian, you're drunk. You're drunk.
Standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
Eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats, they're eating
Вітаю, Бостон
the
Брайан.
pets.
Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
Yes, of course, hence the name. Movement, it moves a certain distance, then it stops, you see. A revolution gets its name by always coming back around in your face. You tried to kill me, you son of a bitch. So welcome to the revolution.
No, get those lights off! Off! Turn them off, they're too bright, turn them off! The big, fat, sloppy United States.